72323. LA 21 12670. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Good morning, everybody. It is 7 a.m. on Monday, May 1st. Today in Baton Rouge, expect cloudy skies with a high of 84. Coming up on OTB, Director of the Senior Bowl Jim Nagy joins the show at 7:30. Bobby Carpenter of SiriusXM calls in at 8 a.m. We do weekend winners at 8:15. And Bill Bender of the Sporting News joins us at 8:30. You can follow today's show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at OTB_ESPN, or catch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel and subscribe for daily content. Hour number one of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
Let we go!
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, they said I gotta come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
Yo, and welcome in to OTB. Happy Monday morning to everyone listening out there. We are glad to have you for the next 3 hours, no matter how you're taking in today's show. Jake, Mario, and Taylor, no T-Bob. I think T-Bob extended his holiday, his vacation by 1 day. So T-Bob will be back tomorrow, but no T-Bob today. But we have got a lot to get to, as Mario just laid it out. We got some great guests. Jim Nagy, Executive Director of the Senior Bowl, will join us in about 30 minutes from now. Well, of course, the Saints drafted 2 guys from the Senior Bowl, actually signed some free agents as well from the Senior Bowl, so can't wait to get Jim's take on the draft. But first off, boys, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Had a good weekend. Did some softball play-by-play over in Sulphur, which I hadn't visited before. That was a lot of fun.
So you've never been to Sulphur?
No, I've been to Lake Charles briefly.
Okay. I mean, somewhat the same, but it's not. I get that. Okay.
Yeah.
Who played?
Several teams. Shout out.
So you did like this? It was the state championships,
yes,
right?
It was a state
awesome.
championship. They had like 3 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday. Lots of teams. Shout out to all the teams, but I thought Calgary was the most dominant. They run-ruled both their opponents, and I had a lot of fun calling their games.
Calvary, right?
I think it's
Calvary Baptist. Yeah, my brother coaches there. It's Calvary Baptist. It's up in the 3-1.
Cavaliers. Shout out.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. It's where my wife graduated from as well. So nice job there, Mario. What about you, Taylor?
Oh man, it was a good weekend. Had to do a 4-hour LSU baseball game yesterday, but other than that, pretty relaxing. It was much needed after the hecticness of last week.
Yeah, we'll certainly get to LSU baseball. All right, so what about the draft party? So I didn't get a chance to hear from y'all. I was on the show on Friday morning, and I also hear my notes were talked about later on in the show, but we'll get there. Don Juan, did y'all go? How was it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Shout out to everybody who came out. Island Haney made an appearance, which was fun.
Wait, he did?
Yes, he did.
He was there.
Was he like full Island Haney, though?
So
Yes.
no beard, but I mean, Hawaiian shirt,
did have a
cowboy
beard.
hat.
The hat.
Let me tell you what, I knew T-Bob was going to be wild because that's who T-Bob is. Heard about Island Haney, but Hunt Palmer got after it on Thursday night. That guy, he had himself a good old time.
In his Bengals polo.
Yeah, in his Cincinnati Bengals polo, yes.
That makes Matt so angry
I know.
that Hunt is a Bengals fan.
But Hunt owns it. Hunt
He
goes,
does.
I've been a diehard Bengals fan for 3 years.
Yeah.
So he owns it.
He is not an NFL guy, and now he has a reason to cheer for an NFL team, and he will tell you that. All right, so the New Orleans Saints, we know what they did in the first round. Obviously, that was on Thursday night. They go Brian Brzee from Clemson. Love the pick. He is somebody that was ranked about where he got selected, and it was a position of need for you. So you get a player who I think can be even more dominant. This is somebody that last year, when you look at the year he had injuries. Obviously, he went through a lot of personal stuff. He had his sister pass away. It's a tragic deal if you remember watching during college football season, but that is somebody that I think is going to be a really good player for the New Orleans Saints, and we've broke that pick down on Friday. Let's go through the rest of the picks. And this might be the one pick that I just don't understand to this point, and someone's going to have to explain to me. That is Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame going that early in the second round. When you look at where he was on a lot of big boards, position rank, he was anywhere from 9, 10, 11. ESPN.com had him at 9. Actually had him at 11th in my rankings. Overall rank, ESPN.com had him 77th. He goes in the 40s, early 40s, right? I had him at 90th on my draft board. He got a grade of 75. So this is a player in a position that was somewhat a need. I don't think it was the most pressing need. When I go back to the needs chart for the New Orleans Saints, right? You've got defensive tackle, you had tight end, you have receiver, and then you probably had edge rusher and offensive guard. Now you hit all of those but one in tight end, and we'll certainly get to that with the Adam Troutman trade. But Foskey's somebody that graded out last year in run defense at 67%. When you look at what he did as far as rushing the passer, 73%, and that's Pro Football Focus grades. So didn't grade out great last year. The Saints at that position have had some misses. We were talking before the show. That is a position that sometimes, and more times than not, it feels like the Saints are trying to be the smartest guy in the room and try to pick the guy that nobody else was going to select at that position. Now, you know, a guy like B.J. Ojulari actually went the next pick, and he was ranked about where he got picked, somewhere there in the 40s. Now, it's a different player because a lot of people ask me that same question. B.J. is 235 pounds. When you look at Foskey, he is 264 pounds. Different players. The Saints run a different defense. That's why they go there and not B.J. Ojulari. Now, Mario, you did make a good point. I mean, the stats are there. Now, the film, we can get into that. There is a little stiffness there. But you talked about the double-digit sack seasons that he's had there for Notre Dame.
Yeah, the production is at least there for him, which is encouraging if you're a Saints fan. This is a school you've heard of, decent program in Notre Dame. And I didn't see as much of the Fighting Irish as you guys did, I guess, but the accolades are there. I mean, second-team All-American last season, finalist for the Ted Hendricks Award, which is the award for the nation's top defensive end. Like, this is a guy that has the measurables. You just said 6'5", 260, but he had the production at Notre Dame as well. So it looks on the surface like a good pick.
It's not even necessarily the pick. I think for me, it's where he got selected. You had some tight ends that were still on the board, so my mind was going to tight end for the Saints. But look, again, they didn't select a tight end, and they traded one. They traded Adam Troutman for a late-round pick. So in their mind, the way they are viewing this, tight end is not as big of a need as maybe we think it is. I still think it is, but in their mind, off of their actions, that is not something that they're worried about because I thought they'd go tight end there at 40. Actually, I thought at the beginning of the day because as we looked, I mean, you still had Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. You had Luke Musgrave from Oregon State. You had Sam Laporta from Iowa. You had all these players in the second round. And I thought, would they move up for one of those players? Because Laporta goes before that pick. Michael Mayer goes before that pick. But with the Saints and how aggressive they are, I was wondering, would they move up? They do not move up, and they take Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame, and we'll certainly get more into that pick. All right, they go in the third round. They go Kendra Miller from TCU. This is somebody that was ranked as the fourth best running back in the draft. When you look at the overall rank, 73rd, graded out at 77%. All right, I told you boys to get y'all's favorite New Orleans Saints draft choice ready. I'm going to go ahead and steal this one before y'all do because Kendra Miller, I think, is my favorite Saints draft choice. Now, when you look at the first round, Brazil is a very solid choice, and I like that one. That would have been chalk, and y'all can go chalk if you want to with that pick because it was your biggest need. But you needed a running back, and I know I'm probably biased here, and I know that people like to devalue the position, but I think this is a good, solid pick in the third round. 5'11", 216 pounds. Last year at TCU, ran for 1,400 yards, 6.2 yards per carry, 17 touchdowns. Graded out at 88.5% in the run game. To kind of give you a comp, Jahmyr Gibbs, who went 12 overall, graded out in the low 80s as far as a rusher. Okay, now Gibbs is going to rate higher as a receiver, but that's not why you're bringing in Kendra Miller. He grades out at 61.3% as a receiver. It's not what he does well. He only had 16 catches last year for 116 yards. Okay, but he is really good for what you do. The Saints were top 3 in the NFL running between the tackles last year with Alvin Kamara as their lead back. That does not meet what Alvin Kamara is really good at. Alvin Kamara can do a lot of different things, but you don't want to be running him in between the tackles, but that was your philosophy. So what do? Well, you go get a Jamal Williams, who's really good at that, and you draft Kendra Miller, who's also really good at that. When you look at where a bulk of his yards came from, they came on zone runs between the tackles. This is somebody that did not participate at the Combine. Remember, he got hurt against Michigan, doesn't play in the national championship game against UGA. So he did not compete at the Combine. Doak Walker Award semifinalist his last year at TCU. And remember, they had Zach Evans at TCU before he goes to Ole Miss. Kendra Miller comes in as a 3-star player, and he forced them to play him with Zach Evans. Zach Evans was as 5-star as 5-star gets, but Kendra Miller played himself into that rotation. Zach Evans leaves, and Kendra Miller becomes the guy. So on my chart, I have his strengths. Miller has good vision and a great feel of zone run concepts. He has a good blend of size and speed and is a determined runner. He was used often to pick up blitzes at TCU and has the strength to anchor and stand blitzers up. Those are all great things. So it's kind of weird when you break down Miller's film. He's really good and holds up in pass protection, but his weakness is probably catching the football and run after catch. He just did not do it a lot at TCU. Another one, he kind of stands up when he gets in the second level and tries to look for the next cut. 216 pounds, run behind your pads, and I think he will learn that. That is a change you have to make once you go to the next level. So I love this pick for the Saints there in the 3rd round. Certainly with the scheme that you're running now, and you are a team that wants to run between the tackles, you go get someone who had, again, 1,400 yards in the Big 12, did a really nice job of pass protection, and you're going to need that because when you look at the backs you have, who now is going to be that 3rd down back? You're going to have somebody step up and be that 3rd down back if AK does miss time like we indeed think he is going to. So that's the 3rd round pick. Have I taken any of the favorites there so far, Mario, for you?
Not yet, although
okay.
I agree with you. Building depth in the backfield is huge. Saints running game needs to be way more effective this season for Derek Carr to be good. But for my favorite pick, I'm going to try to go good value here. I like A.T. Perry in the 6th round at number 195. I saw a decent amount of Wake Forest over the last few years.
Yes, we have.
And this is somebody, yes, we have. Not always happy result, but this is somebody who has always stood out for the Demon Deacons. 15 touchdown receptions a couple years ago, which was the program record. Overall touchdown record of 28 touchdowns. Big body, catches a lot of passes, scores a lot of touchdowns, which made me think, why would he drop all the way to the 6th round with those kind of numbers? Well, he's a little older for a prospect, 24 years old, and apparently he doesn't have really good breakaway speed. But those are really good numbers. Anytime you see somebody drafted that late with those measurables, I think Marcus Colston. So in a perfect world, maybe he's the next Marcus Colston. I think A.T. Perry is an interesting pick.
Yeah, I absolutely love the pick. Actually, so when we finished our show on Friday night, so we did the first 3 rounds for SiriusXM. By the way, Kansas City was fantastic. Kansas City did everything that they needed to do and more to host that event. And cities like that, I just love it. I love, like, New Orleans knows how to host a party. Kansas City knows how to host. You don't have to go to the biggest towns. It's about who does it right, and Kansas City certainly did it right. But when we finished up and we were talking about, okay, who are you surprised it's still left and you think is going to go early in the 4th round? Of all the players left in the draft, I went A.T. Perry. He was the guy that I circled, said, I'm surprised. Look, he's 6'4", 200 pounds, and look at his stats. And then you get into, well, it's a system. Okay, well, you still had to go out there and do what he did, okay? And the body, like you're talking about, Mario, at that size, I will take that every single day. I actually had him as my 11th best receiver. I had him 93rd overall in this draft, so I think there's some real value there. In the 4th round, you go to Old Dominion, Nick Saldiveri from Old Dominion, guard, tackle kind of combination guy. Saldiveri is somebody that played in the Senior Bowl. Jim Nagy is going to join us in about 15 minutes to break down that pick. That's kind of why we're saving those. Jake Hayner, somebody we caught up with at the Senior Bowl. We're going to break that one down as well. He was the 6th ranked quarterback in this draft. You get him in the 4th round, so I actually love that pick, and Jim's going to break that one down as well. Now, the 5th round pick's really the only one I didn't have a scouting report on. Jordan Howden from Minnesota, a safety. That's why Bobby Carpenter is coming on. Bobby Carpenter breaks down the Big Ten with me on SiriusXM on the daily, so he's going to break down that pick for us. We talked about A.T. Perry there in the 6th round out of Wake Forest. Taylor, your favorite Saints draft choice?
Well, Jacob Hester took my pick.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Mario can attest to this. I text Mario as soon as it happened. I was like, that is an outstanding pick. In my opinion, he was the third best running back in this draft behind Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. I liked him over Tyjae Spears. And not only did they get a running back, they got the most violent physical runner probably in this draft. I mean, that dude, he might be 216. He might as well be 230. He runs behind his pads. And like you mentioned, I mean, you know, Kamara and Williams, they're both getting older. Kamara's not a between the tackles runner.
No.
Williams is, but they're going to use Williams a lot in the passing game. If you need that short yardage back right there, I think they got him in Kendra Miller. I think it was an outstanding pick.
Yeah, I love it. And I love the fit, too. Like, when you start ranking running backs, and y'all know me, I've talked about Tyjae Spears all season long, and certainly after the Senior Bowl. And he goes after this pick, and a lot of people are angry by that. Look, I'm the, again, biggest Tyjae Spears fan that you're going to find. But when you look at what the Saints did last year offensively as far as the schematics of their run game, this might be the better pick. And look, we're going to go like favorite picks by round, maybe a little bit later on in the show. Tyjae Spears is my favorite third-round pick. They both went in the third round. Well, make that make sense. Well, because I think both go to a better fit. Because Tennessee actually loves to run stretch with Derrick Henry. I know you see the size, and you're probably thinking, oh, they're a team that likes to run in between the tackles. Now, they will, but they like to get him on the edge as well. He puts his foot in the ground on that stretch lead and goes north-south, and nobody can tackle him. Well, Tyjae Spears runs that play really, really well. So just because you have a back somewhere higher on your chart, it's all about fit in the NFL, and I think both players go to the better fit. So I do like that pick. Miller's somebody I had circled as well, Taylor, so I like that one. And we'll break down some of these picks, but when you look at some of the LSU guys, we've got to get to that as well. A lot of LSU guys, a little bit different draft going in the latter portion of the draft. You had a slew of guys sign free agent as well. So we'll go ahead and do this. We will take our first break of the show. Again, we got Jim Nagy in about 15 minutes from now to break down the 2 fourth-round picks of the New Orleans Saints and obviously the rest of the draft. Jim has a scouting report on all these guys and is one of the best in the business. So looking forward to that conversation. We'll tell you where some of the LSU players landed when we come back here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, go to advancedeyecenter.com, advancedeyecenter.com. We've been telling you about the sports vision training camps over the last couple of weeks, and they are coming up. The first session is going to be at the beginning of June, and then you've got session 2 at the beginning of July. But go ahead and sign up now. Now, T-Bob and I, we both went over there, and we went through some of the testing. And the best part about it, so you find out where you're at, and then you can get better. That's the best part about it. All right, they see where you need help, and they're going to help you. Hand-eye coordination, depth perception. Depth perception for me and T-Bob was awful. It was something that we really need to work on. Hand-eye coordination, that was better, right? But it might be something different for you. And so if you've got, the sports coming up in the summertime, in the fall, and you got tennis and golf and baseball, the best part, it helps with every single sport. So go ahead, give that call today, 225-769-6010.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you.
For the Monday edition of Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. from Walk-Ons. It's Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember you told me that it made you believe in no man, no cry. Maybe that's right. Every little thing I do never seems enough for you. You don't want to lose it again. But I'm not like them. Baby, when you finally get to love somebody, guess what? It's gonna be me.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back into OTB. Joseph in the chat. I knew it. Yeah, you knew it. I mean, come on. And we knew it. We knew it was going to happen. We knew it was going to be dorky, and we couldn't help ourselves because today is May the 1st. And so, yes, you're going to hear NSYNC. It's going to be me. We will get to baseball. Trust me. I mean, look, anytime LSU sweeps Alabama in something, we are going to cover it. And what a weekend it was. I mean, the comebacks, the runs, and, you know, still some pitching issues. So we will certainly get to that. I'm trying to see if we can get Jumbo Ronnie Rant, since he called the games, on the phone lines, kind of break it down as well. So we will have plenty of baseball to get to. Obviously, continuing some of the NFL draft stuff. That was the big event over the weekend. All right, we broke down some of the Saints class, and again, Jim Nagy's going to join us here in a little bit to talk about the guys that played in the Senior Bowl that the Saints selected there in the 4th round. But we also got to cover the LSU guys that went in the draft. Now, it's a different LSU draft than we're used to, and we were talking about it during the break. Like, a lot of times you got, you know, first rounders, like plural, like more than one. You didn't have that this year. That's a good thing because that means that you bring a lot of your talent back off a team that won the SEC West. But a little bit different here. Surprised some guys didn't get drafted, so we'll kind of update you on that as well. But let's talk about the guys now from LSU and some other guys from the state that did get selected. We mentioned B.J. Ojulari. He does go in the 2nd round to Arizona. Actually really like that fit. I think B.J. is going to play right away there in Arizona. And he was the pick. I think he went 41st overall. So congratulations to B.J. Ojulari, my guy, member of the 18 Club. Outstanding young man, and just can't wait to watch that guy in his NFL career. We mentioned Tajay Spears from Tulane. He goes in the 3rd round to the Tennessee Titans. Dorian Williams, another talented Tulane linebacker. He goes in the 3rd round to Buffalo. Sideline to sideline guy. He was impressive at the Senior Bowl as well with Tajay Spears, so congratulations to him as well. Anthony Bradford from LSU. Now, it's funny, like Anthony Bradford, massive human being, and actually got better each and every year he was at LSU. If I would have told anyone that Anthony Bradford wouldn't have been selected over like Keyshawn Boutte, who went in the 6th round, we'll get to that, a year and a half ago, what would y'all have told me? Would y'all have told me to kindly leave, put it down? What are you doing? I mean, that to me, kind of shows how much Anthony Bradford got better and where Keyshawn kind of fell back to.
Yeah, no, I agree with you because not only did everyone think that Keyshawn was a first-round lock, people were kind of iffy on Anthony Bradford, like being a starter at LSU.
Right, last year.
Like 2021, I mean, he was a little shaky on the O-line, but yeah, I mean, he had a great 2022.
Pretty sure Anthony Bradford had a higher vertical jump at the combine than
He
Boutte
did by 2 inches than Keyshawn.
Just wanted to add that.
That's how you go in the 6th round.
Shout out, Bradford.
Didn't he really?
Yeah.
He did. He had like a Keyshawn had like a 28. Bradford had like a 30, 31.
I mean, I think I might even jump as high as Keyshawn, which that's not good. But we'll get to Keyshawn in the pick and the fit there. So Anthony Bradford does go in the 4th round. Shout out to Darius Davis from Westphal. Now played at TCU, went out of the state for college, but he goes in the 4th round to the Chargers. I had a chance to cover him. Now my brother, full disclosure, coaches at Westphal, or did coach at Westphal. Got to know him a little bit. Great young man. Covered him at the Fiesta Bowl and the national championship game. So shout out to Darius Davis. Jay Ward also goes in the 4th round. Feels like a really good spot for Jay Ward to go. Now, Jay Ward played in the Senior Bowl, showed his versatility, corner, safety, can kind of give you a little bit of everything. Played nickel as well in his LSU career, and I think that's probably why you see him go in the 4th rounds, because he kind of played all over the place. Didn't really matter. Came to LSU as a corner. We saw him in that Florida game in the fog and the big play he had there. Finishes his career as a safety, and again, has played in the nickel before. So that is a big spot for Jay Ward. Like him going to Minnesota as well. Gets reunited, obviously, with his former defensive coordinator at LSU. All right, also to Minnesota. Not too much longer after Jay Ward goes, Jaquelin Roy, right? Local guy from U High. Goes to LSU, has a great career, comes out early, and that's always, a decision that you have to make. And I thought Jaquelin Roy, when he declared, would go in the top 3 rounds. And you never know what happens in the draft process, but it doesn't matter where you go. And I know it's an old cliche, but it really doesn't. It just, unless you're like a first rounder and the GM's trying to force you into the lineup, it doesn't really matter where you go. And so that is a player that I can see going to Minnesota, getting into the practice field, and then shining, because during camp, where you were selected gets hit, reset. It does. It just does. I've seen undrafted free agents make like 4 or 5 plays in training camp, like Mike Tolbert, one of my former teammates with the Chargers, right? He was undrafted out of Coastal Carolina. It was a program that just started like 3 or 4 years before he got to San Diego. He makes a couple of really nice runs in training camp, makes a couple of nice runs in the preseason, and Mike Tolbert plays 10 years in the NFL. C.J. Anderson, Denver Broncos, same thing. Undrafted, out of Cal, makes 3 or 4 runs. Didn't even play in the preseason. Got hurt before we got to preseason games, but made 3 or 4 runs in one-on-one scrimmages with the backups. It was 2s on 2s. Gets signed because of the runs he made in practice. So all you got to do is go in there, impress. They don't care where you're drafted. They just want to see, can you make plays? All right, continuing on. Keyshawn, who we talked about, Keyshawn Boutte, goes in the 6th round to New England. This feels like, okay, you're going to New England. We know what the situation is there. It's the Patriot way, right? It's going to go one or 2 ways. They don't wait on you there in New England. But if there was a spot where Keyshawn can come in, everything kind of gets forgotten about, and you go out there and you play because you're playing the Patriot way, and it's a real thing. We've talked to Flynn about it. We've talked to all these guys that played for the Patriots. Bobby Carpenter played for the Patriots. We can ask him about that in about 30 minutes from now. I think where he's going, like the destination, the team, is probably the best fit for Keyshawn.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, kind of a sketchy ending to his career, LSU, and I've seen the Patriots take a few guys that were really explosive in college, and it didn't really translate to the league, so a little concern there. But considering where he was going to go, like as high, possibly a bad team, I think it's a decent spot for him going to New England.
No, it is. Me and Mario were talking about it before the show. I was like, he doesn't really have a lot of competition in terms of returning receivers. I mean, Jacoby Myers was their only guy. He's gone. I mean, who else is left there? Mac Jones has to have somebody to throw to.
If Keyshawn gets into the right offense and the right situation, they put him in the right spot, he can be a player that can shine, right? He's not what you would think a number 1 receiver would be. You don't put him on the outside. He's not a burner. That's just not who he is. He's a guy that you can put into the slot. He's really good at run after catch. He's going to be a high 4.5, low 4.6 guy every day of his career. That's just who he is. But you can have a role And New England has kind of showed that you can have a role in that position before, but he's got to make sure that you're doing everything the right way, because we've heard too many stories. If you don't, in New England, certainly as a 6th-round pick, you will not last very long, but I do think it is a great spot for Keyshawn. All right, Trey Palmer, former LSU receiver, Kentwood Kangaroo, transfers to Nebraska. He also gets selected in the 6th round by Tampa Bay. Jarek Bernard-Converse from LSU, Shreveport, went to Evangel Christian. Shout out, 3-1 great. He goes to the New York Jets in the 6th round, and that's where your LSU Tigers end up in the NFL draft. Later on in the show, we can get to some of the guys that signed undrafted free agent deals. A little bit of surprise, Ollie Gay. Ollie Gay doesn't get selected. Ollie Gay was somebody, I know he had some ups and downs, and it was not always the most consistent tape, but he certainly had a lot of moments in an LSU uniform, goes to Mobile at the Senior Bowl. Very surprised just because off his frame and where he played and the plays that he did make, did not at least get a waiver, kind of a flyer there in the 7th round to be able to be a drafted guy just because of all the reasons we laid out there. But he does sign undrafted free agent, I believe, with Houston. And we'll update you where those guys ended up. But we need to take a break now, because when we come back, we're going to talk to the guy who runs the Senior Bowl, the executive director of the Senior Bowl. Jim Nagy joins us here on OTB when we come back.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Charles Hannigriff. Join us for the Monday edition of Hanny Time. We'll recap the entire NFL draft plus LSU's 3-game set with Alabama. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Very excited for our next guest. He is somebody that we always enjoy catching up with, and who better to catch up with today than a guy that had 3 of the Saints draft choices in his game. Of course, we're talking about Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Senior Bowl, joins us now. Jim, how you doing today? Thanks for your time.
Good, Jacob. Good to be on, man.
All right, so let's talk about the Saints draft choices that played in Mobile. You got Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame. You got Nick Saldiveri from Old Dominion and Jake Hayner from Fresno State. So let's start with the second-round pick, Foskey from Notre Dame. Not a lot of people, Jim, had him maybe that high in the draft. He was somewhere, in the 70, 75 range. He gets selected in the early 40s there of the NFL draft, but you watching as much tape and breaking down these players for as long as you do, what do you see as maybe some of his strengths and some of his weaknesses?
Well, first thing, I knew the Saints liked him. Had conversations with those guys. I knew he was kind of on their radar at 40. I knew they had a couple players kind of pegged for where they were picking with those first 2 picks. I didn't know it was Isaiah. They didn't share that information, but I knew they liked him. He's the guy that's got a lot of sack production at the college level, and that's something that usually carries over as a pro. We're talking about back-to-back double-digit sack seasons the last 2 years at Notre Dame. Big, stout edge setter, physical at the point of attack. He's an every-down player. He's ready to go. Like there's no bulk deficiency or strength deficiency. Plays hard, high character guy, what you would expect coming out of that Notre Dame program. We've got a lot of Notre Dame guys over the last 5 years since I've been at the Senior Bowl, and all these guys are grown men. I mean, they all carry themselves like adults, and you're going to get a guy that's ready. There's really no development or maturation that needs to happen. So he's ready to go, man. He's the ready-made product.
All right, as we go on, Saldiveri is from Old Dominion, and I remember watching him in the game, and obviously a versatile offensive lineman. Some people may be surprised by the pick, but he showed versatility there in Mobile, and I know he's coming from a smaller school in Old Dominion, but what did you like about him during the week in Mobile?
Yeah, he had a chance to go day 2. Just talking to teams the last month or so, Nick was a guy we thought could sneak into the top 100. So obviously a player that the Saints coveted, because you're not going to package picks and move up to get that top spot of the day. I mean, there's more trade action on that pick than on the first pick of day 3 than any pick in the draft. So they obviously saw Nick as the guy that can help them, and probably right away. I mean, you're to trade up and take a player like that, you're usually not doing that for a backup level player. So I'm guessing the Saints probably had a second or third round grade on Nick. He's played mostly right tackle at Old Dominion. I think he's going to kick inside and play guard. I actually think his best long-term position is going to be center.
Right.
I posted something about that on social media back in the fall when I watched him. Just really good initial quickness, good at the second level, and he's a big man. Like, you get up on this guy, he is a big dude. So teams that like to play with big centers, which I know the Saints like to do, he'd be a good fit. So no, that could end up being a really good pick for those guys.
So, Jim, I mean, you know this, being around the NFL for as long as you have, and when you're talking about like actual game day dress lists, and you have a guy like Saldiveri who in his career has played all across the board, like that brings real value. Not to say that he's going to maybe specialize at one position or the other, but just knowing that he's got experience there. And if you're thin in numbers and you've got maybe an injury at running back, but you're still going to dress that guy, knowing you have to dress another running back that you wouldn't, a guy like that is always going to have a better opportunity just because of the versatility.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, look at you know this better than I do. I'm sure you got put into positions in late November and December where you weren't used to playing.
Yes.
Yeah, you get late in the year, and the roster really starts taking hits. And so you got to have position flexibility in really the two biggest positions where teams can really cover for stuff is on the offensive line and in the secondary. So that's what makes the pick like Zelda very so important.
There was a couple of Decembers there, Jim, where I was like playing off the ball Y, like basically a tight end, and I was like, hey, are y'all really sure this is set up for success there? But to your point, I mean, it's what you kind of have to do, bringing somebody in that late, trying to learn the offense. It's better just to try to move a guy who's been in the offense for a full season there. All right, continuing on, and look, the Senior Bowl does such a great job of bringing in great players, and obviously the New Orleans Saints are a team that values the Senior Bowl in the 4th round as well. I actually really like this pick, and I know you do as well. Jake Haener from Fresno State. You get him there in the 4th round, and this is somebody that truly I think can develop under Derek Carr.
I do. I think of all the guys that went on day 3, I mean, we saw most of the quarterbacks went off their 1st round, and then Will Levis, to start day 2 in the 2nd round. But of all the guys that went on day 3, I think Jake's got the best chance to become a starter. There are similarities to the old number 9. I'm not saying he's going to be Drew Brees. That would be unfair to Jake and to Drew in the same fan base. I don't want to set that expectation, but there are similarities in terms of size and play style. He's got a ton of moxie. I mean, we saw him 2 years ago in kind of his highlight game that really got him on the map. We had a scout at the UCLA game where he was injured, and really one of the guttier performances in the last few years in college football. He brought the team back, had an injury, could barely walk around on the field, and really, really a cool performance. So, yeah, Jake's got a chance to hit. He was the Senior Bowl game MVP for us, and some of the guys recently that have won that award, Daniel Jones, Justin Herbert. He's just got some gamer to him. So, and he doesn't have to play right away. And it's a nice succession plan from one Fresno State guy in Derek Carr to hopefully Jake. Hopefully that's the plan for the New Orleans Saints.
Now, Jim, when you look at the draft as a whole, did you have any picks that were some of your favorite picks? Obviously, you're paying attention to your Senior Bowl guys, but we can get away from New Orleans. Who were some of your favorite picks? Maybe who landed in the best spot? Because it's so much about, yes, opportunity, but destination matters. Where you go, is it the right fit? Are you going to be able to thrive in that system? So what were some of the picks that stood out to you?
A couple. Nolan Smith, the outside linebacker from Georgia, who went 30th overall to the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, this is I'm sure you met him at SEC Media Days last year, Jacob, and he was making the rounds up there. High character guy. A year ago at this time, going into the fall, he was our highest graded defensive player for the Senior Bowl. Had some injuries, couldn't play in the game. But to get him at 30th overall, and you're talking about a team that was already in the Super Bowl last year, I mean, to me, that's incredible. And now they're like Athens North up there in Philly with him, and they got Jalen Carter, and they came back with Keely Ringo in the 3rd round, whenever that was, 4th round. So they're building something crazy. And then another Georgia guy, just off the top of my head. I mean, Seattle Seahawks got Kenny McIntosh in the 7th round. Yeah. And this is a guy that, great player on tape, very explosive, versatile. They lined him up at wide receiver this year. And he had a tough spring. Like, he didn't test well. The combine wasn't good to him. Pro day wasn't good to him. And teams let him slide. And there he is staring at the Seattle Seahawks in the face in the 7th round. And, I was talking to their GM, John Schneider, over the weekend. We had a higher grade on Kenny McIntosh for this year's Senior Bowl than we did on UCLA running back Zach Charbonnet, and the Seahawks picked him in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
So that just, sometimes the testing stuff matters, but, man, it shouldn't have pushed him all the way down to the 7th round. So I thought that was the best value pick of the entire draft.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one there. I mean, you're right. It is the Philadelphia Bulldogs. It's also the Los Angeles Horned Frogs, by the way, with what the Chargers did in TCU. Hey, they got your guy Max Duggan there in the 7th round. I don't know what the role is going to be, but somebody that put in the work. I saw him work every day in Mobile. Like, he got there early as he possibly could. He stayed after. He answered every question. He signed every autograph. That is somebody that played in the Senior Bowl that I'm absolutely rooting for.
Yeah, me too, because he was starting to slide there, Jacob.
Yeah.
And, they get him in the 7th round, and like you said with the Horned Frog thing, they took Quentin Johnson, the receiver, in the 1st round. And then they came back with, I think they took Darius Davis later in the day too. And Darius was in our game, and he's kind of a little gadget guy. the reason they picked him is he's got a chance to go to the Pro Bowl
Yes.
multiple times as a punt returner. This dude is an electric punt returner. But no, I'm happy for Max, man. I mean, he had an incredible kind of a storybook year, loses his starting job there at TCU, for week one. The starter gets hurt. Max goes back in and leads them to the national championship game, man. So like you said, all the off the field stuff, the work ethic, the dedication, the leadership. I mean, he's got all that. So I would never count a guy like that out. I mean, to me, he's got a chance to be a backup in the league for 10 years. And if you can get a guy like that in the 7th round, that's a great pick. And it's going to help his chances. He's going there with a couple guys he knows that he'll be taking some second and third team reps with during training camp. So there'll be some familiarity there in camp for Max. So yeah, I was happy to see that.
Yeah, that's a very, very solid point. Before we let you go, I do want to give like a testimonial for the Senior Bowl. And here's why. Like, obviously, like, I love the game. I was able to play in the game, love covering the game. It's one of our favorite events to go to. But there was 3 guys, Jim, in this draft that I think got selected where they got selected because of what they did in Mobile, and Mobile helped them so much. I think Jaden Reed from Michigan State is able to go 50th overall to Green Bay because of what he did in Mobile. I think Tajay Spears, a guy you and I have talked a lot about from Tulane, goes 81st overall to Tennessee. And I think Michael Wilson from Stanford, he has the ability to go 94th overall because of what he did in Mobile. Those 3 guys in the week that they had down there at the game, they're able to drastically improve their draft stock. And Michael Wilson's like a guy that wasn't able to play because of injury, so he had to have a good week. He showed out during that week, and those 3 guys are great testimonials for the Senior Bowl. You come to Mobile, you compete, and you're going to get drafted much higher than you would have if you did not.
Yeah, and those are 3 of my favorite guys that we had this year. If I was the GM, I mean, I would have had those guys targeted. 3 really good players. Now, I'll bring it back to Tajay real quick, just because he's a Louisiana guy. We hosted, Tajay was kind of our guest of honor. He and his family brought a bunch of family members over from Louisiana for our draft party on Thursday night. And, I don't know how many people know this. I think it's gotten to be public knowledge now. So I'm not breaking anything on Tajay, but his medical came back pretty bad.
Right.
He's had a couple knee injuries there at Tulane, and in the last couple of weeks, I've had multiple teams, numerous teams, probably more than he was probably off more boards than on boards.
Right.
Jacob, that's how bad the medical came back. So I was really worried that he was going to have a really bad slide and maybe even slide out of the entire draft. But he's such a dynamic football player, man. And you watch the tape, you would never guess this guy's ever had a knee injury with some of the cuts he makes. I mean, he's one of the best cutters in this year's draft.
Yep.
So for him to go in the 3rd round, like, that was probably my favorite moment in the entire draft is when the Tennessee Titans picked Tajay in the 3rd, because like I said, I thought there was a chance he could really slide. So just really happy for Tajay and his family. Like, what an awesome kid.
All right, there he is, our guy, Jim Nagy, executive director of the Senior Bowl. Just year in and year out, you go to Mobile, you watch these players, you see why they get drafted as high as they did because of what they did down there. It's all about competing, and we absolutely love the game, and we love Jim Nagy. Jim, we appreciate your time as always, brother.
Jacob, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Again, Jim Nagy, one of the best. And we'll have to give you that Senior Bowl Hall of Fame. They just released their Senior Bowl Hall of Fame. Last year's class was epic. This year's class is epic. They have a great event there in Mobile, so we'll certainly give you that list as well. All right, we'll take our final break of hour number 1. We've got some LSU baseball to hit when we come back here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, go to All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com. If you're buying new, if you're buying pre-owned, if you are leasing, no matter what you are doing, renting, we tell you about the rentals all the time, per-day rental prices. Now, the best thing about the leasing department and the rental department, everything is available. So everything, like the full fleet. If you're buying new, like, yeah, you expect that, okay? Everything's going to be available. It's just not the case in a lot of places when you're leasing a car. Certainly when you're renting a vehicle, right? You got like 3 options to choose from. You got 1 sedan, you got 1 SUV, maybe you have 1 truck. But over at All-Star, like, they've got multiple trucks. They've got multiple midsize SUVs. They've got full-size SUVs. They've got the Sienna minivan. They have multiple sedans. They got hybrids. They have everything available, and the pricing is fantastic as well. So check out the rental department over at All-Star. Certainly buying new. You can customize that vehicle. T-Bob tells you about the Murdered Out Mini all the time. It can be whatever you want it to be. They're going to work with you. All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I drove myself to the ER, had heart surgery, and drove myself home 24 hours later, feeling fine. Starting running again after the procedure, I'm getting excited thinking about it. I had no pain, nothing. I felt great. And right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. I'm back. It's just amazing.
Ochsner Health. Long live you.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you can run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look.
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the
I hope you have an awesome weekend. Hunt Palmer Show back in action 1 to 3 on Monday, talking the NFL draft. Where do the Tigers go? And LSU Bama from the box. Hunt Palmer Show 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back into OTB. I promise you we are going to give more time to LSU baseball. This is not going to be the only segment. Again, we're trying to see if we can get my guy Ronnie Rance to hop on. We'll see. Don't know if he's even up yet. Try to reach out to him. Again, look, Ronnie's a sleeping bear. So we'll see if Ronnie is still in hibernation or if he can join us. But we're going to talk baseball at the 9 o'clock spot. But let's recap real quick. We know what they did. They swept Alabama, right? In the first game on Friday, 8-6. On Saturday, 12-8. And then yesterday, 13-11. Now, we'll break it down in detail about how it happened later on at 9 o'clock. But just quickly, the thing that stood out to me, I don't know that there is a run number that terrifies me if LSU's down because of the lineup. It doesn't matter how much they get down. It's like 3 runs, 4 runs. This lineup is going to have a comeback in it. Now, the pitching has to be better. And where it has to be better is game number 2 of the series, right? Because game number 3, we've known for a long time that that was going to be an issue once you had some of the injuries. Now, game 2, it's hit or miss. It's been up and down. Last time out, looked great. Almost go a complete game. This time out, not so much. That's the area that you want to see LSU improve in. And again, this offense can come back. You don't want to play that way, though, once you get into the regionals, super regionals, certainly if you're able to make it to Omaha there. So that is going to be something that we talk about in the 9 o'clock hour. But the good news is you continue to win series. This one you sweep. This is what you were supposed to do during this stretch of your schedule, and so far you are doing that. So looking forward to talking some LSU baseball in hour number 3 of today's show. All right, we'll be back. Bobby Carpenter, Sirius XM, is going to join us to break down the Saints draft and other picks there on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Good morning, everybody. It is 8 a.m. on Monday, May 1st. Today in Baton Rouge, expect cloudy skies with a high of 84. Coming up on OTB, Bobby Carpenter of SiriusXM joins the show up next. We have a new edition of Weekend Winners at 8:15, and Bill Bender of the Sporting News joins us at 8:30. You can follow today's show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at OTB_ESPN, or catch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel and subscribe for daily content. Hour number 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2 of OTB. Let's go ahead. Let's waste no time. Let's get to the phone lines where you can soon hear my co-host on Off Campus with me most days, 2 to 5, SiriusXM, College Sports Radio, Channel 84. Of course, I'm talking about the General, Big Ten Bob, my meathead brethren, Bobby Carpenter. Bob, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Just coming off the draft in May. It's not really all that warm in Ohio, but hopefully it'll be turning the corner here soon.
I know I'm holding you from your workout, too. How, I feel so privileged that right now you just got through with your local show there in Columbus, and I know that workout is just soon to be, and I'm holding you from it, so I appreciate it.
No, it's good. I'm excited. Monday, I could dive into it early. I like to do legs on Monday because, you know what? Attack the worst part first. It's going to be bumpy. It's going to be a little tiring, a little sore coming off the weekend. Just back sore from watching all my kids' stuff. So I'm excited. But, yeah, you are keeping me from that. But anything for you, sir, you and Mr. T-Bob.
No, well T-Bob, Christian bailed on today, so it's just me. So no T-Bob. So no Lord of the Rings talk, no Star Wars talk for you two. I know when you two get together, that's what y'all enjoy. I apologize that I cannot add anything to that conversation.
That's disappointing. I mean, what, he stayed up last night and watched Return of the King? I mean, what's going on? I mean, I was hoping to really dive in. I went and saw the re-release with my son, and I thought we might be able to get into that together and talk a little bit about it.
I know. It's very disappointing. You know what? Honestly, I'm not sure where T-Bob is. He just said he wasn't going to be here today, and I don't ask questions. I just let him be. Okay, so he's not here today. So, again, I do apologize, but we can get into some draft talk and, 110 talk because you still run 16 110s for time, which is just madness to me. So maybe we have some time later on in the interview for that. But I wanted to have you on to talk like general draft stuff and then also a pick by the Saints that I didn't have a real big book on, and these Big Ten players. So we'll get your thoughts on that in a little bit. But overall draft thoughts, maybe some surprises, some disappointments. Like, what were some big takeaways for you from the NFL draft?
I think only 3 quarterbacks go in the first round. We've seen that position get overdrafted a lot. And the fact that only 3 guys went in the first round and Levis and Hooker survived there a little bit longer. If you'll forgive me for just a second, just my thing on this, I didn't get invited to go to the draft. I probably would have declined, I think, ultimately anyway. Just it doesn't really, sitting in the green room doesn't really seem exciting to me. But I will say this, should you choose to go to the NFL draft, I mean, that's going to encompass some good and some bad. And maybe you get taken where you think you're going to get taken. Maybe you get taken ahead of that. Or maybe you fall a little bit. And for Will Levis and Joey Porter Jr., and especially Will Levis being a quarterback, yeah, I understand the night didn't go the way you wanted. But you didn't sign up to go to the first round of the draft. You signed up to go to the draft. And you knew you were going to come off the board early on the second day. And I think that says a lot about you as a person. And you know what? It sucks. We were sitting there and getting into it with folks on Twitter about, hey, you wouldn't have wanted to do that. You wouldn't want to put your kid through that. I'm like, absolutely. I wouldn't have wanted to do that. And that's why I wouldn't have gone. But once you decide to go, you're in it for the good and the bad. You want to be sitting on the couch and have the camera in your face, and all that stuff's well and good. But ultimately, with the spotlight can be bright the other way too. And when it doesn't go the way that you want it to, if you're going to be a quarterback, there's going to be a day where you throw a couple interceptions, and maybe you throw an interception that costs your team a game in the final drive. And you know what you have to do after that? You have to go to the podium and answer questions about it. You got to talk about it, and you have to face the music, and it stinks. and it's not going to feel good. That's not what you signed up to do. You want to be the hero and be the guy that everybody loves. But that's part of life. And I feel like it was a disservice was done, to the young man where my dad would have said, dude, you go here, you're staying. I know it's going to stink, and we're going to go get you a new suit tomorrow, or hell, wear the same one. I don't really care. But you're going to go there tomorrow, and you're going to pretend like, hey, it's all good. This is how you plan for it. Go, even though we know that everybody thought you should have won earlier and this and that, and everything should have been different, and it didn't end up that way. But you're going to go there and act as if. And to me, it was just disappointing to see that. And then I believe, oh, goodness, the safety for Bama was a Branch that stayed.
Yeah,
and
he
the
did.
statement had been raving about him. I'm like, you know what? It talks about what type of dude he is. Like, that's the dude I want on my team, because when crap doesn't go well, he's not going to be shirking responsibility and looking away and all those other things. The guy's going to go there, and he made a commitment to do something. He's going to stick with it. So I know we're talking about surprises and this and that, but to me, that was probably the biggest thing I took away from nights, 1 and 2, is the fact that I was befuddled on Friday when I heard that those guys weren't going to be returning.
Hey, now, Bobby, he's going to Tennessee, and their head coach, Vrabes. I mean, obviously he's another Buckeye, and y'all have worked out together. I mean, you know him very well. Like, how do you think that relationship is going to work out? Do you like the fit? Do you think Vrabel can get maybe the most out of Will Levis?
Well, you know what? He reminds me a lot of Ryan Tannehill, to tell you the truth. I mean, and so I don't know if that's good or bad, and I hope that, believe me, and with all that being said, I wish Will Levis nothing but success, and I think Tennessee's a good spot for him, and they'll let him grow into it. Mike Vrabel will coach him hard, though. Vrabel is one of the few guys, he doesn't pull any punches. My goodness, I mean, he'd come back and work out when he was playing for the Patriots and the Chiefs, and before I got in the league, and he's running with us and just talking trash to everybody the whole time, to anyone that could listen. Because that's just, I mean, he likes to press people and understand how they're going to respond. And eventually you learn just like, okay, I'm just going to tune it out. And I'm going to go beat him, and we're going to go run, and we're going to do this stuff, and we're going to compete. But I like the fit, but, it'll be interesting to see, like, how quickly he's ready to go. And, they talked about the turf toe injury. I can't imagine that playing really into anything. And I think they got a good value there. I like Will Levis as a player. He's got a lot of physical tools. I didn't necessarily like him in the top 10. If you're telling me you got him at the end of the first round or at the top of the second, I think he's a guy that can have some great value for you.
Now, I know you also enjoyed C.J. Stroud going number 2 overall to Houston. There was a lot of talk, and we were talking about scores on things that were off the football field and how he scored an 18 and how he wasn't going to be selected high because of it. But I say it all the time on this show, and I say it on our show. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. That's what you always tell me. That's what you always bring up. Well, the eye in the sky tells me C.J. Stroud is worthy of a number 2 pick, and I know you were excited for him kind of getting rewarded for his play at Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, you looked at it, people want to get in the debate between him and Bryce Young, and I'm like, all right. I mean, Bryce is a little smaller, but he's got great film. CJ's got some really great film. Maybe not quite the athlete, but a little bigger. Like all the other stuff, I'm just looking around, like, the film, especially at quarterback. I mean, yeah, being fast is important, and having a strong arm is important, and looking good in routes on air, that's nice. But you put on the film because ultimately you want to see is a guy that can hang in the pocket, have poise, make good decisions, and throw with accuracy and timing. Both of those guys did that at a really high level. And I was glad to see that. I think he's going to a pretty good spot. Seems like they're going to be committed here. I love what Houston did. I love D'Amico Ryans. I mean, you and I both played against him. He and I came out in the same draft, and really good player. Done a great job as a coach. And I love Houston's draft at the top. They gave up, some assets, obviously, to go back up and get Will Anderson. But you know what they did? They got 2 really good football players. And I don't know, how you can lose when you get good football players. And outside of CJ, it came the same thing with Will Anderson, where we started looking at this stuff and like, well, there's this guy, maybe he's got more of an upside. And look at, this and his measurables or traits. Like, dude, if you would have said before the season that we were talking about Will Anderson not being the number 1 defensive player, you would have said, what happened? Did he get hurt? Did he have a really bad year? And none of those things happened. He went and had a year just like he'd had his previous couple at Alabama. Was a very solid player. He's a stand-up dude, and he's someone you can build and be a cornerstone of your defense on one side, and then you get the offensive piece on the other with CJ. Like, okay, now if you're D'Amico Ryans, you look around and say, I've got 2 young guys that are good football players who have played at big schools. They've been in big games. The moment's not going to be too big for them. I'm going to coach them hard, and we're going to have these guys be our leaders and try to grow this thing over the next 5 to 10 years.
All right, Bobby, I need to ask you about the Saints' fifth-round selection, Jordan Howden from Minnesota, a safety there. Now, look, you're Big Ten Bob, and so anytime the Saints select a Big Ten guy, my mind's going to be like, let's ask Bob what he thinks about this pick. Do you have a book? Because I'll be complete disclosure, I had a book and a scouting report on all of the Saints draft choices. I did not have one on Jordan. Do you have a book maybe you can give our listeners on what to expect from him?
Well, I know this. PJ Fleck as a coach does a great job of instilling like character in his guys. They develop guys in a really big way, and so you're going to get, number one, a grade A human being because they invest in guys. You know, he's got your traditional size. You know, he's not the fastest dude that you're going to find in the history of the world. But you know, he started a lot and played a lot of football. And that's the thing, and they move him around. Like, you can get him down around the box. He's a guy that's a tackling machine. You know, maybe he's not out there running a 4-3,
right,
but he's a good football player. And so that's the one thing. It's like, does he play faster than his times? And, you know, he did at Minnesota. That's the one thing that's really tough to project because you've seen guys come in the league, so it's like, oh, this guy's a 4-6 guy. But they never seem to get outrun. They always seem to be where they need to be in space. It's that level of anticipation. So, you know, Howden's he's a very instinctual player. Like I said, they get him down around the line of scrimmage. You can get some TFLs. You can blitz him. You can do some different stuff with him. I would anticipate that that's kind of how New Orleans will try to deploy him.
We got a question inside of our chat from Gulf South. He says, #ask Bobby, is he jealous that A.J. Hawk won the Ohio's Finest Award? I don't know what that is, but I know A.J. is your guy, lives right down the road from you. Did he really win Ohio's Finest? You're supposed to be the mayor of Columbus.
So they have at the Ohio State Coaches Clinic, they've got a couple guys that they introduced, and you know, they had like the NFL for Ohio's Finest. They had some college guys that they've had come through. And this year, you know, he got to get up there and speak and, you know, spoke for about, 5 to 10 minutes. And he was Ohio's Finest this year. And listen, man, he's one of my best friends. I'm happy for him. I enjoyed to get a chance to sit and watch him talk a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day, Hester, if I keep my fingers crossed, they'll throw me up there. But we'll have to see how it goes.
I mean, you let A.J. Hawk, look, he's in line with us. He is our meathead brethren as well. And so we can both be happy for A.J., but throw my guy Bob a bone. I mean, he is in that facility working out. He's going to be there like in a matter of minutes. I told you, Bobby, J.K. Johnson, who transferred from Ohio State to LSU, I was asking him about you, and he goes, oh, yeah, Mr. Bobby, he's always in there working out. So, I mean, you're known in the facility, although you're Mr. Bobby.
Well, exactly. Well, I told him, don't call me coach. My guys, you just call me Bobby. You don't have to call me coach, whatever. And it's weird because it didn't used to be a problem, Hester, but now that I'm staring down 40 years old, heck, I'm older than some of the coaches they have on staff, like Hartline and Laurinaitis. So,
yeah,
you know, it's a little bit different. But yeah, if there's one thing, man, like you can't fool the room. So if I'm going to be over here, like I'm not just going to be hanging around. I'm going to be in here being productive, get in the weight room, try to make sure I can maintain some sort of body mass and try to defend myself should I ever get caught in like a mugging.
That's what everybody thinks. Let me work out just in case somebody tries to test me and mug me. Okay, Bobby, I can get behind it. That is our thought process on most things.
Hester, listen, you've got 4, soon to be 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a wife. Like, if something happened, you're out on the street, you're walking around New Orleans late one night. I mean, you want to make sure that you can turn and be like, hey, you don't want to do this, dude. You picked the wrong guy. So you can say that with a sense of certainty. Maybe avoid the conflict altogether. But if they should choose to get a little froggy and decide to jump, then you're going to be ready to go.
Hey, wait. What does Schleggs call it? Gas station ready?
Gas station ready, dude. When you're pumping gas, if someone comes up from behind you and chooses to tries to rob you, mug you, whatever, you're gas station ready at all times to answer the bell. It's like a sudden change.
All right, you can catch Off Campus today. It'll be me and Bobby for 3 more hours. It's going to be on College Sports Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 84, 2 to 5 in God's time there, Central Time Zone. Bobby, I will talk to you in a couple of hours, and I always appreciate the time, my man. Go get that workout in.
Yes, sir, and I know you're waiting on yours, Hester, so I'm excited. Take some Instagram videos so I can see what it looks like.
I absolutely will. I'll send them just to you, though, because I don't look like you do in a tank top. So those are private videos. All right, Bobby, you're the man. We appreciate it.
That's it.
All right, that was Bobby Carpenter. Nice breakdown there of Jordan Howden, the safety from Minnesota. And as he was talking about him, he's sitting there and you're doing some research, and that's spot on. It's a player that looks like he is very physical. He is not going to be a blazer. He is a guy that played free safety and strong safety, so there is some versatility there. And look, he's right. Minnesota, PJ Fleck, I mean, he has that team playing probably at their highest level that they can, right? They've been very consistent, certainly on the defensive side of the football. I think we're in game number 7. They still had the number 2 defense in the country. It got a little bit off track there at the end of the season, but still finished in the top 25 as far as overall defense. And so that is a breakdown of the Saints' 5th round selection. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to do some weekend winners when we come back here. It is OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, go ahead and call my guy Thomas email today. That number, 225-206-1517, Riverlands Insurance. It doesn't matter where you're at, by the way, right? It doesn't matter where you're at. If you're in Shreveport, if you're in Monroe, if you're in Lafayette, anywhere that you can hear us in the state of Louisiana, we are talking to you. By the way, you might hear about Thomas' email and weekend winners as well, but give him a call, right? He's going to answer the phone. That we can promise you. We have been with Thomas whenever a client has called or, someone who wants to be a client. He's going to answer. He's going to give you all the information. Time and time again, we get told on Twitter how much money Thomas can save you, right? And hey, he might not can do it for you, but he's going to tell you what he can do for you, and that's the best part about it. He has done it for so many people, and again, he's always available. No matter what you've got, no matter what time it is, call Thomas. That's why we give the cell phone number, right? 225-206-1517.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap the NFL draft, and we'll take a look at the LSU Bama baseball series. Join us for Monday's AFR, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I do in everything you want to make your girl say, ooh, ooh, why she so fly? She feeds me, ever she wanna get freaky. You can get mad if you want to, whatever you want, but she still gon' give it up. She likes it my way.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Nothing like a little ULL, Louisiana Lafayette discussion like is going on currently in the chat.
You mean the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, like it says on the school sign? That school?
Yeah. And Taylor,
okay, I've heard of that school.
And Taylor, our video producer, is fully in this conversation, if you can't tell by what he just said. All right, it is that time. And we might have to come back to this because we've got Bill Bender set to join us in about 10 minutes from now. But let's go ahead and get it started. It is time for Weekend Winners.
That's how winning is done.
That's right. We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure. We've got too far.
I'm by winning. I win here and I win there. Now what?
Are you doing what it takes to win a championship?
Wow, winning.
Well, then I guess there's only one thing left to do.
What's that?
Win the whole thing.
All right, Weekend Winner. And I talked about him being my favorite draft choice for the New Orleans Saints, and it's going to be Kendra Miller. And it's for a quote that he had. Now, some people might take this quote the wrong way, but as a competitor and as someone who is getting drafted, even as a vet in the locker room, me personally, I would love to hear this quote. Even though I respect Alvin Kamara and everything he's got for the Saints and everything he did, I'm coming for that number one spot. Look, I love it, okay? I got drafted in the 3rd round. Now, when you get drafted in the 3rd round at any position, you're supposed to be a starter. So I did the Sirius XM shows over the weekend with Mark Dominic, who was a Buccaneers GM for 5 years, and had great conversations. He's like, really, if you get selected in the 4th round, like you should be competing to be a starter. So you get selected in the 3rd round, that should be your mindset. But at the running back position, with how it's kind of been devalued in the draft, getting selected in the 3rd round at that position is almost like being taken in the 2nd round at any other position, right? They're counting on you. A lot of people would say you reach for a running back. Well, even in the 3rd round now, like you might have reached for a running back, but I think it's because you've got a really good player. We broke down the stats. We broke down the grades. We broke down the numbers, the strengths, the weaknesses earlier in the show. I want my running back having that mindset, right? It's not cocky. It's not flashy. But you've got to go in thinking, I'm not here to be a piece of it. I want to be the main guy. And if it works out for you, great. Now, I don't think it will. Alvin Kamara is still one of the best running backs in the NFL, but we don't know how long AK is going to be out. And I like having that mindset from my running back, and I love the pick. Again, Kendra Miller to the Saints Weekend Winner.
I love that. I love the Saints having some personality. I feel like you need some personality on this year's team. So I love the confidence from the young rookie for sure. For my first Weekend Winner, I'm going to go to the NBA. Give a shout-out to Steph Curry. Broke out for 50 points in a Game 7. Took 38 shots, which is nuts. I know it's Game 7, but 20 at 38. High volume there. Yeah. And I think Kevin Looney deserves a shout-out, too. 21 rebounds for Golden State. I think he's kind of been underrated the last couple of years for the Warriors. Big reason why they beat the Pelicans in regular season. So shout out to Kevin Looney and Steph Curry. Got to give a weekend winner to the Warriors.
That hurt?
Yeah, a little bit.
How about the thread that I sent in our group chat about him almost being a Pelican? Him and Clay both.
Yeah, man, that happened 10 years ago.
Dude, I'm sure. Look, Mario for sure knew that. I had no idea about that.
I remember. The trade for Rajon Rondo almost happened too. Dell Demps was really active trying to trade Chris Paul, but settled for Eric Gordon and Chris Kaman in the end. So good job, Dell Demps.
Chris mother flipping Kaman.
Yep.
Okay, that hurt. Taylor?
My first weekend winner is going to be me. That's right. Yours truly.
Hold on. Of all the times we've done weekend winners, T-Bob, myself, Mario, the fact that Mario is not the first one to do himself as a weekend winner is shocking. Taylor,
I'm going to explain why. Because I started Succession this weekend.
Okay, yep.
I did. I told you you'd like this one. I'm only 2 episodes in. I love it.
So season 1, 2 episodes in, you're already hooked. The best part about that show, I told you this, it stays on that path the entire. There's no backing off. It just stays on that red line.
I finished the last episode like 10:45 last night. I looked at the clock and I was like, man, I want to watch another one, but I didn't.
Yeah, good for you. That's some self-discipline there, because I would have mowed through all of season 1. The dialogue in that show is it's fantastic. Like it's really unbeatable. Weekend winner, the SEC, yet again. The most draft choices of any other conference. The breakdown here. The SEC had 62 draft choices in the NFL draft. The Big Ten not far behind at 55. And then, boy, oh boy, what a drop-off. The ACC had 32. The Big 12 had 30. And the Pac-12 had 27. So, yet again, the SEC, Mario, I'll have to look this up. It's something crazy, like 15, 16 years in a row the SEC has had the most draft choices.
Just means more, baby.
It does. Absolutely does.
For my next weekend winner, I'm going a rare entry here and going hockey. I don't know if y'all saw what the Florida Panthers did to the Bruins, but they were down 3-1, came all the way back, and it's significant because the Bruins were the most successful regular season team in the history of the NHL. They had 65 wins, which was a league record, 135 points, which was a league record, and a 3-1 lead, but all that not good enough apparently. So shout out to the Florida Panthers, weekend winner.
I like that.
It's
not
like
only that.
It's like the Patriots. I mean, and the Warriors.
Yeah.
The Warriors having that record, breaking the Bulls' record, and then not doing anything. Well, I mean, the Warriors got farther, but still not having anything to show for it.
Yeah, which makes you think really tough to kind of go into a postseason when you have that dominant of a regular season, right? Like the Warriors were feeling the pressure to go all the way that year. I'm sure the Bruins were here, but not to be. Regular season, obviously not when it counts. Postseason is when you want to shine.
All right, making everyone mad this morning. My next weekend winner is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. And I'll explain why. Did you see the Deuce Vaughn draft pick?
I did. I had this as a weekend winner, but I said, you know what? I'm not going to steal this from Taylor.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Deuce Vaughn's dad, he's one of the directors of college scouting. They let his dad call Deuce Vaughn. He started crying on the phone to let him know that they were going to be working together. He was going to be a Dallas Cowboy. It was a great moment.
Yeah, the room was fantastic. It meant everything to the room. I mean, he's been there for a long time. I think he's one of the lead scouts, too. I mean, he is high up in the scouting department. And to be able to call your son and to tell him, like, the team that you grew up and daddy's gone to work for every single day, basically, of your life, like, we're selecting you. You're now a part of this team. And I also loved what Jerry Jones said. He's like, we're not doing this just because. Like, on the phone, he's like, we're doing this because you earned the right to be drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. And I think Deuce Vaughn, actually, let me go back as y'all hate on my I heard y'all hated on the paper color. By the way, orange means running back. You see the orange paper right there. So that way I know, or sorry, blue means running back. So I know I go directly to the running back position there. I actually had Deuce Vaughn as my 8th ranked running back in this draft. A lot of people had him like 16, 17. Did they watch Kansas State? Did they watch this man? Did they watch the Texas Bowl? Like, this is a really good running back. Don't let the size fool you. And don't compare him to other small running backs. He will run between the tackles. I really like that pick for Dallas. I think he's somebody that certainly could make their team. And, yes, Taylor did go himself and the Cowboys in weekend winners. That is what happened. I'm just laying out truths.
They were both good examples, though. And one of them was really you and T-Bob, because y'all are the ones that told me about Succession. So I'll say you and T-Bob weekend winners. How about that?
All right, thank you. I will take that. Drew Maggi, I think that's how you say Drew's name. We talked about him last week from the Pittsburgh Pirates and how he got called up after being in the minor leagues for 13 years. Well, he got his first big league hit, and I cannot imagine what that's like for that young man, that middle-aged man, whatever you want to call him. To grind in the minors for 13 years. Like, full disclosure, I'm not playing in the XFL for 13 years waiting on my shot to get to the NFL. I love football. I don't love it that much. This is for the love of the game, because once you get to that age, look, you're not doing it for money. You're not making any money. And you could have gone and done other things. We have seen plenty of people, even if you didn't want to get, a 9-to-5, well, you can go get baseball lessons and start a hitting clinic or whatever. And because you have that much experience, you're going to probably do pretty well. But he stayed with it, and all for this moment. For him to do it at a home game as well, you saw what it meant to his teammates. It was just a great moment. I cannot imagine trying to get to the highest level for 13 years and then finally getting there. You had no idea that it was coming because you weren't, like, his AAA stats weren't great, but they called him up. He gets a hit, and at least for right now, it's all worth it after 13 years.
That is an awesome story. Shout out to him, and shout out to this young man as well. I can call him a young man because Dennis Malik Barnes is 16 years old. He's a student at the International School in New Orleans, and they're trying to see right now if he's breaking records with his grades because he has a GPA of 4.98. Before graduating high school, he has 27 college credits, and he currently has scholarship offers from around 130 colleges and universities, and that's worth more than $9 million. That is unbelievable. This man seems to have limitless potential. I'm curious to see where his story kind of goes in the next few years, but those numbers are insane. So I got to give a weekend winner to Dennis Malik Barnes of the International School.
Taylor, you got any? I'm nervous to ask. You got any more?
No, dude, the Miami Heat. They keep winning.
My God.
I got to watch that game. It was a back-and-forth game. I thought the Knicks were going to win, but they go into Madison Square Garden. Jimmy Butler hobbled through about half that game, still played 43 minutes. The Heat continue to win as an 8 seed, so shout out Miami Heat.
If you're keeping track at home, himself, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Miami Heat.
What was wrong with the Miami Heat?
Just laying out the fact. I'm literally laying out what you said. Did I say anything, Mario? I just laid it out, right?
The fact that you're pointing it out, though, makes it seem like it's a shot.
No,
you're not recapping the ones that Mario put.
I just want to say I got the Heat at 15-1. That looks really good right now, just to go to the finals.
Yeah, congratulations there.
No, you can't pick the Heat in weekend winners.
The playoff Heat's a little bit different than regular season Heat. All right, real quick, last two, and these come from Brian Burgess, and he's right. Weekend winner Hayden Travinsky, 3-1 great. Also, weekend winners, Jordan Thompson, shout out 619, and Paxton Klink. I don't know your area code. I know the other two, but shout out to you as well. Those are guys that obviously had big moments over the weekend. Their home runs were the difference. Now, the stars were shining as well, but we talk about the stars, Dylan Cruz and Tommy Tanks, all the time. He's right. Those players stepped up when they had to, and those home runs were the difference for LSU, and it's the reason that they were able to sweep Alabama over the weekend. All right, we do have to take a break. Maybe we can come back if we do have more winners, but when we come back, Bill Bender of the Sporting News is going to join us. We're going to talk NFL draft and also where some of the top college football teams sit after spring practice. We'll have that for you when we come back here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, go to getgordon.com. Speaking of the baseball team, a lot of members of the LSU baseball team are also on the G team. We know the national champion LSU women's basketball team, the entire team is on the G team. We're talking about football coming up with our guy Bill Bender. Well, a lot of football players on the G team there as well. So go to getgordon.com, though, to see what he can do for you. And if you can't get to a phone right now, maybe you're already at work, you're already at your desk, but you have questions. Well, you can log on to that website, getgordon.com, and you can actually have a chat right there on the website. So anything that you might have, you can actually schedule a call for later when you are free right there on the website. Whatever you need, you can find it on the site. Cases they can handle for you, past client results as well, all at your fingertips, getgordon.com. And as we tell you every single day, if you want to call them, it's your area code in Louisiana, followed by the 8s. 888-8888, getgordon.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. Where personalities clash and chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
Monday edition of Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. from Walk-Ons. It's Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At first we started at recruit, taking me places I ain't never been. But now you're getting comfortable, ain't doing those things you did no more. You're slowly making me pay for things your money should be handling. And now you ask to use my car. Drive it all day and don't fill up the tank. And you have the audacity to even come and step to me. Ask to hold some money from me until you get your check next week. You're trifling.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back into OTB. Going to catch up now with one of our absolute favorites. Bill Bender of The Sporting News joins us now. Bill, hopefully you're doing well this morning. We always appreciate the time.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Doing well. And Bill, one of the best parts about having Bill on is you can talk, well, literally anything. NFL, college football, college basketball. And we're going to talk college football here in a minute. But let's start with, Bill, the NFL draft. And so maybe some of the biggest takeaways for you. Any surprises there early in the first round?
There's always a few. I think Houston being bold and getting C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson, you get two cornerstones. And, you and I talk so much about college football, sometimes it's worth it not to overthink it. That's a pretty good quarterback at college level. And
yeah.
Will Anderson did a few things in college. So, I thought they did a good job, and Detroit was a little all over the board, but, those are the guys they wanted.
Yeah, so let's talk about Detroit, because I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and I understand that Detroit maybe, they selected guys that the experts didn't have where they selected them. But I'll also say this, it feels like, and certainly with Jack Campbell, I know they take him at 18. ESPN.com had him, I think, 58th overall, but he fits what they want to do in Detroit. Now, could they have gotten him later on? Maybe so, because inside linebacker wasn't a position of priority in this draft. But I do think he's going to actually fit in from day one with Dan Campbell, with what they want to do there in Detroit. So maybe you could have gotten him later, but you don't know. You don't really know where he was on other people's boards. So, what do you think about Jack Campbell going to Detroit? Because he does feel like, Bill, he will fit there from day one. Do you agree?
I do. And, they had a Big Ten linebacker that was a high motor guy that made a lot of tackles years ago named Chris Spielman that didn't do too bad. And Jack Campbell, I'm not comparing him to Chris Spielman yet, but he has that kind of motor. He was like that in the Big Ten. You know what, Jacob? Somebody texted me last year when Ohio State was wearing them out, and it was like whatever the score was. And I got a text from a source that said, that Iowa linebacker still playing hard and crushing people. That tells you what kind of guy he is, even when the scoreboard was whatever it was at the time.
I mean, I look, obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs, it makes a lot more sense now because you trade DeAndre Swift to Philadelphia, and we'll get to the Eagles. And then Jack Campbell, we just talked about him. Sam Laporta makes, a lot of sense because he fits what they want to do in Detroit. You get Brian Branch and some real value there in the second round. But Sam Laporta, we talked about him a lot last week. Obviously, we're on here in New Orleans, Bill. We thought maybe the Saints would take a look at him at 40. Surprise, the Saints, by the way, don't go tight end. But Sam Laporta, that feels like a guy that fits what Detroit's trying to do as well.
Yeah, and had a lot of targets, caught a lot of passes, played a lot of football. And that second round had a lot of tight ends go, and some unproven. And, I'm a Green Bay guy, but Luke Musgrave doesn't have the numbers on the field that Laporta does. And at some point, that has to count for something. So, yeah, I thought Detroit did well, especially on day two. They got guys that fit what they want to do. They're on the cusp of maybe breaking through, making the playoffs. But I still think they could have – I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is the one that's going to – I don't think it's going to haunt them. But, man, he's going to have to perform to a pretty high bar knowing how high they took him.
Yeah, certainly the running back position. We've talked about it. Unfortunately, it's been devalued now. Bijan Robinson at 8. I mean, Bijan might have been the highest rated player in this draft. And if he didn't play running back, maybe goes in the top 3. But Jahmyr Gibbs at 12, it is very high. Very interested to see what Detroit does with Gibbs. All right, let's bring you back home. Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. Brian Brzee is somebody that you've probably known for a long time because of how he was coming out of high school. He's one of the highest rated players in the country. Certainly he had moments there at Clemson. Now, very, very difficult year for him last year through the injuries, through the tragedy he had there in his family. But what do you think about Brian Brzee and the pick there for the Saints at 29?
No, he 5-star talent, obviously, and you said it, a guy that we've known about, we've tracked for years, and because of his high school recruiting, because of how he came into Clemson, started right away, was disruptive as a freshman. Never really, at the college level, never had that dominant season, and obviously was dealing with, his sister and everything that happened and injuries the year before. So, but in terms of fit and in that defensive scheme, I think Brian Brzee is going to do a very good job. And sometimes you trust the 5-star talent. You trust the 5-star talent to get to the NFL. Yep. If it develops further, that's going to be a heck of a pick.
As we continue talking New Orleans Saints draft choices, this is somebody that I wasn't assuming he was going to go as high as he did to the Saints. He goes at 40. That's Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame. I know he impressed some people at the Senior Bowl. Now, obviously, you watch Notre Dame, you do it on a national level. Like, he had the stats. Like, the stats were there. The film, there's still a couple of things I've got questions about. How do you view that pick at 40 for the Saints?
He was the guy that had, from the college level, always on our All-American radar, always pretty dominant and consistent pass rusher for Notre Dame off the edge, does some things. I follow a couple of those guys that break down the film a lot better than I do, and all I would see was like he pops here, he pops there. And again, another good defensive addition for the Saints. I mean, those are two guys that thought they were very I go from like they were All-Americans, great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are they going to be NFL difference makers? I think Foskey has that potential.
Catching up with Bill Bender of the Sporting News here on OTB. All right, Bill, we got to talk about Philadelphia. You mentioned them earlier. Let's get there now. And it's just the Georgia thing. You can't deny it. And I know everybody's talking about it, but when you take the players that you take a year ago, and then this year at 9-31, and then they're in the fourth round with Ringo. I don't remember anything like this happening, to have that many players from the same college. But if you're going to take them from a college, why not take them from the back-to-back national champs? And I kind of like the fits for all of these players.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, so when you were at the Chargers, how many was there a team that had like more than two or three? I most cases no, right? That you don't have more than one or two guys that you played with. Interesting phenomenon, because not just that they're from Georgia, Jacob, but the fact that they're getting them at value.
Yeah.
Like Jalen Carter fell to them. Kelly Ringo slips down the board to them. They trade for DeAndre Swift. Nolan Smith slipped to them because of his pectoral injury last year. If you're going to draft the team, you might as well draft the guy. Again, draft him from the best defense in college football the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, their draft is just ridiculous. You get Jalen Carter, you get Nolan Smith, you get Tyler Steen from Alabama there in the third round. I think he's going to kick down a guard and be a really good pro. Sidney Brown, Chase Brown's twin brother, who really impressed in Mobile. You get him in the third. You get Ringo in the fourth. You get Tanner McKee, who a lot of people were incredibly high on at the quarterback position in the sixth round. So, yeah, the team that played for the Super Bowl, didn't win it, played in it. Man, they had a really good day. Bill, let's transition real quick. A couple of college questions. Obviously, spring practice is now over, I believe, for everyone. I know a couple of teams finished up this week. I know Maryland, Mike Locksley finished up this weekend. We've got a lot of player movement in the transfer portal. Obviously, Colorado has been a story. Kind of what are some of your takeaways after spring practice for some of these teams? Is Colorado the one that's hard to deny and not start there?
Right. And just because of this is an extreme case of portal and NIL and coaches switching, and not to mention the mega spotlight that Deion Sanders can put on a program. So it's been very interesting to see that. I think Tyler Buckner's quick transfer to Alabama is part of me is like, okay, that's the transfer portal. Part of me is like, how did Alabama put themselves in this position where they've got three inconsistent passers that might be their starting quarterback next year?
That went to, like, when Buckner went into the portal, and obviously Tommy Rees being there in Tuscaloosa, like, you almost felt like it was going to happen, but a lot of fans trying to make that seem like, man, they got a steal there. And I think Buckner's got some talent. I think he had some nice games last year, but when you look at having the OC quarterback combination that didn't really work well for Notre Dame a year ago, like, I'm with you. I'm surprised Alabama, I mean, just in the ACC alone, Bill, there were 7 starting quarterbacks that were in the portal that had some real value, and Alabama decided to wait. And it might be a case that they waited too long. And you and I talked about this. Ohio State doesn't go in the portal, Bama doesn't, Georgia doesn't. And I thought, okay, well, they're trusting their high school recruiting. Well, it seems like Georgia and Ohio State are, but Alabama right now, they're trying to search for something because they know they don't have anything right now.
Right, and that's what makes next season so intriguing is Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama. I think Georgia's settled on Beck. I mean, without saying it, I think that's what's going to happen. And then Ohio State pretty settled on McCord. So if you're a Michigan, you have an advantage with J.J. McCarthy back. If you're LSU, you're feeling great right now because of Jaden Daniels and his continued development. If you're Penn State, they've got a new quarterback but a ton of talent. And I think Florida State's the other one. Undervalued Jordan Travis on some of those future mocks, and he could be your Heisman sleeper.
All right, without question, LSU fans are getting ready to see him again in the season opener there in a top 10 matchup in Orlando. Going to be a really fun one. 2 really good quarterbacks in that contest. Bill, you're the best. We always appreciate your time. We'll catch up again soon.
Hey, no problem, Jacob. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
All right, that is my guy, Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Bill Bender 92 on Twitter. Can literally go anywhere when it comes to sports. Love having Bill's insight. By the way, Colorado had 83 scholarship players on the 2022 team. 13 of those players are left. 70 are no longer with the program. All right, we'll take a break. More OTB. Wrap up hour number 2 when we come back here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right.
Charles Hannigrove, join us for the Monday edition of Hanny Time. We'll recap the entire NFL draft plus LSU's 3-game set with Alabama. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All All right, welcome back in. Sorry for the short segment. That's on me. I know how T-Bob feels. But, you know, we had a lot of great guests talking a lot of NFL draft. And we might be putting the draft to rest just for a little bit. I know Hold the Mayo, he's going to join us in about 15 minutes from now. Certainly he'll have some thoughts on what the Saints did. Look, the Saints had 5 needs. Defensive tackle, hit. Defensive end, hit. Receiver, hit. Offensive guard, hit. They didn't hit that tight end position. And you traded Adam Troutman. It's going to be very interesting to talk to Nick tomorrow to see why the Saints didn't go after a tight end, and they also lost a tight end. It felt like a real position of need. We'll do all of that in hour number 3 of OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Good morning, everybody. It is 9 a.m. on Monday, May 1st. Today in Baton Rouge, expect cloudy skies with a high of 84. Coming up on OTBOT, Holden Mayo, Devin Snow joins the show at 9:15 for a new edition of Spread Lines. You can follow today's show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at OTB_ESPN, or catch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel and subscribe for daily content. OTBOT, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 3 of OTB. Jake, Mario, and Taylor. No T-Bob again, but T-Bob will be back tomorrow. Just a little extended day away for T-Bob, and we can always appreciate a day away. I think he, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he say he was going like to the horse track in Arkansas?
Is that
so that's what he told us like Thursday or Friday
Right?
last week. Yeah, I don't know if he got back. I guess he's still there.
You know, he's not here, and he's not a huge gambling guy, but I'm a little nervous that he went to Arkansas to the horse track races and he's not here. You know, hey, that first time you do it, I mean, it could be a hell of a thing. Hopefully T-Bob doesn't owe some Arkansas mobster any money.
Yeah, hopefully he has all his possessions and all his limbs and all his vital organs.
Yes.
I'm very unfamiliar with Arkansas.
A couple years ago, I was worried about Mario when he went to Vegas. Didn't you go to Vegas a couple years ago?
Like Arkansas.
I did.
During March Madness?
Yeah, or like around this time.
Yeah, I was worried about Mario a couple years ago.
He was calling the Hogs. You don't remember that?
Yeah, I saw the video. I was like, Mario's going to get too carried away here. He's going to come back a changed man.
Yeah. What's the worst thing that you could do as an LSU fan? Because I don't think calling the Hogs is the worst thing you can do. But what is the worst thing that you can do as an LSU fan from something that another team does?
It's got to be something Roll Tide, right?
Yeah, leaving a conversation like they do with the Roll Tide at the end.
Gotta be, right?
Yeah. Oh. See, for y'all,
The Gator Chomp's
I was about to say the Gator Chomp would be really, really bad. Anything cultish that A&M does would be really bad, like the little push-ups they do. That would be really bad. That might be a good poll question of the day, or maybe just like,
yeah, but I don't think any of us are socially awkward, so we probably wouldn't do anything A&M. I mean,
yeah,
I feel like a special type of person.
I feel like we're missing something. I feel like there's something that we are missing. I mean, Ole Miss, obviously, Hotty Toddy. You've got War Eagle for Auburn.
Cowbells.
Yeah, I mean, I literally see an off-the-bench cowbell right there in front of Taylor, though. That's a great question. Maybe that could be our poll question of the day. Hit us up in the chat as well. All right, one thing that I wanted to get to before we get to some baseball discussion. Emil asked a really good question in the chat earlier, and it was because there was a group of LSU players that we thought would get drafted in the NFL draft that did not get drafted, right? And he asked the question, if you don't get drafted and you have to sign as a free agent after the draft, should you be able to come back to school? Now, other sports, you have kind of different situations. Baseball, basketball are different, but you have an option like for baseball, even if you get drafted, you can get drafted and you can say, no, I'm okay. I'm going to actually come back to school. Basketball, you can declare, with the intention of leaving it open, but you can go to a combine and you can work out with other draftees and see where you stack up. I know like a guy like Drew Timme did it a year ago for Gonzaga and then comes back. It's a really good resource. I would love for there to be something like that in the NFL. Here's the problem, though. And we talked about it like the WNBA draft. You finish the season, 10 days later, you're getting selected to your new team, right? 10 days. NFL draft's 4 months from your last game, and really 5 months, because a lot of these teams aren't playing, into January, and certainly a lot of guys opt out of bowl games. 5 months away from your team, away from your program. Even if you stayed in school, like even if we didn't add in the school portion of this, although you're probably not staying in school because you're going to Dallas, to Pensacola, to Arizona to train for the combine, you're away from your team for 5 months. There's no coach in America. There might be like 1% of players that could go away from their team for 5 months and come back and have their spot. Bryce Young goes away for 5 months. Yeah, he can come back. Will Anderson goes away for 5 months. Hey, you can come on back as well. But for the most part, and that's even a stretch, right? 5 months is a long time to be away from your team, be away from the building, be away from team workouts, to be not even involved in spring practice. And the NFL does that because they want to build up the event that is the NFL draft. Like, you have that much time. You don't need that much time between what happens at the end of your college season to the NFL draft. You just don't need it. I mean, when I got done, I think the next day I got on a plane, went to Arizona, worked out for 2 weeks, came back to Mobile, played in the Senior Bowl, went back to Arizona, worked out for a couple of months, went to Indy, went back to Arizona, right, worked out for some more, came to Pro Day, then you go back and you work out, and then you have the NFL draft. We don't need all that. There's no need for all that, but it is what it is, and they build up the draft. And so for that reason, I would love for them to have the option to come back. All right, you talk about Gardner being somebody. We talked about him, I think it was during a break, actually. I don't think we were on air. Surprised he didn't get drafted. Now, he declared early. That's a very tall, long, rangy corner that played really well for LSU this year. For whatever reason, he didn't get drafted. That's a player that I would like to have the ability to come back, right? Jaquelin Roy went in the 5th round. He declared early. You would like that player to have the option. You're just never going to get that, though, in football. It's just not going to happen. Now, if you had a situation where the draft was in, let's say, February, yeah, you can come back. You can come back to the team. You'd be fine. You'd be there for spring practice, right? You get drafted off the tape, and let's say you had a quick combine at the beginning of February, but, you got to spend, air quotes here, you got to spend 9-10 weeks getting ready to run a 40, to do a cone drill and all of that. So, unfortunately, football is never going to have that option. And it's because of you've got to get ready for all those events. They have to make a spectacle of those events. And look, from the NFL's perspective, I get it. It's a moneymaker. The combine, you put on the NFL Network. A lot of, I watched some of the combine. Fellas, did y'all watch some of the combine? Just a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Very little.
Right, very little, but you watched,
yep.
Right? I mean, we all watch a little bit of the combine. And your diehards are going to watch almost all of the NFL combine. So that is something that is now a show. The draft, and Mario did a great job of putting this in the chat, it's a show. Listen to this. 2015 in Chicago, attendance for the draft, 200,000. The next year in Chicago, 225,000. The next year, 17 in Philadelphia, 250,000. In Dallas in 18, 200,000. In Nashville in 2019, 600,000 people. 600, this is in attendance. This isn't viewership. This is people actually showing up to the draft. All right, 2020, we all know virtual draft. In 2021, in Cleveland, it's Cleveland, so 160,000. Still a big number. It's Cleveland, though. All right, Las Vegas, 300,000 people. All right, this year in Kansas City. And I can tell you, I thought this number would be even higher because it looked like there was so many people in every direction I looked. 312,000 people. So for those reasons, you are not going to have any NFL draft that is moved up. You are not going to have anything that allows the player to potentially come back to his college. Now, these college players have to take advantage of what they have as well, which is NIL. So if you're fringe, and you should have all the information, like even in December, January, you should have the information because you can put in the year before for your draft grade. I know I did. I was never going to leave early. I mean, come on. Like, I knew that. But if you have that resource, go ahead and put in. And it told me my junior year, after my junior season, if I declared, I'd go in the 5th round. It used to give rounds. Now it's like, yeah, come out, no, stay in school. But it gave me a 5th round grade. I was like, okay, now I have a starting point. I know what I have to improve on. And I was fortunate enough to get drafted in the 3rd round. So you have that asset, use that asset. And also once you're in that time, hey, talk with people. You can talk to whoever now. Like used to, you couldn't talk to a lot of different people, right? There were so many rules about who you could talk to. Now you can talk to anybody you want to, basically. And you have the ability to see where your NIL valuation is. So if you have that ability, you can find out that number and you can say, you know what, it's worth, and for me to stay in school for another year. I know what I'm going to make in the NIL portion of this. I know what I can do to better myself as a player. I know where my draft stock is currently and what it can be if I stay in school. Are you taking a small risk because maybe, you get injured your senior year? And I always give this example. Derry Beckwith, great LSU linebacker, right? He had a really early draft grade. He decided to come back. He tore up his knee. His knee was bone on bone. We had him in San Diego as an undrafted free agent, and Derry was a hell of a football player. His knee just gave out on him. He couldn't do it anymore. Like, it literally was something that stopped his career. and you'll have those cases. But for the most part, you can improve your draft stock. Okay, so you have all the resources, all the tools, and that's the one thing that the NFL does give you, because they're never going to change where the NFL draft is. It's just too big of a moneymaker. So go ahead, use all those resources, use all those tools. They're right there at your disposal. And that's why, again, to the great question Emil asked, you see it in other sports, but you'll never see it in the NFL. Before we take a break, though, I do want to, and I swear here, we're going to get to baseball at some point in the show. I want to tell you about Patient Plus, patientplusuc.com. Go ahead, get online. You can schedule your visit online, but like we always say, walk-ins are always welcome as well. And there is going to be a location that is convenient for you in the Baton Rouge area. It does not matter where you are currently located. And look, I've got 4 boys, soon to have 5 children, and stitches happen, right? They happen, things like that happen like the worst time. And you're wondering, where do I go? Well, you go to Patient Plus, because, again, it doesn't matter where you're at. There's going to be a location that is right by you, and they are ready for you. You're going to walk in. It's going to be a very quick process. That's why the tagline can be get in and get better. So go ahead, for quality care for life's little unexpected moments. Go to patientplusuc.com. All right, we need to take a break. We've got our guy, Devin Snow, set to join us. Hold the mayo for some spread lines when we come back here on OTB.
OTB, OT.
All right, go to ITI Technical College, ititechnicalcollege.edu. That's itcollege.edu. And we've been telling you about it over the last couple of months. This is somewhere that wants to get you to the finish line, right? If you're looking to get that degree, it is the perfect place to go. And we always encourage you to go check out their campus. It's off Airline Highway, and my goodness, it is set up for success. You're going to be blown away with this campus, and they are there for you. And I always encourage you to go see the campus, but maybe you're not in the area right now. Maybe you need to pick up the phone and give admissions a call. Walk through the process with them, right? They're going to help you get to that finish line. They're going to work with your schedule. They have so many different options for you. If you don't think you have the time, that is not the right mindset, because you do have the time, and they are going to help you. The email is admissions@itcollege.edu, but that phone number that we always tell you, give them a call. Let them know what you're looking forward to. 225-267-8003, and always online, itcollege.edu.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
Hope you have an awesome weekend. Hunt Palmer Show back in action 1 to 3 on Monday, talking the NFL draft. Where do the Tigers go? And LSU Bama from the box. Hunt Palmer Show 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's that hustler music, yo, please, you got that money. Hustler music, so ride to it, y'all, vibe to it, y'all. Damn, mix the hit again his head with this one. I'ma paint the city red with this one.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria. Spread lines with Devin Snow, a.k.a. Hold the Mayo, presented by DraftKings.
All right, welcome back in. Let's go ahead and go to our guy, Hold the Mayo, Devin Snow, who joins us now for some spread lines. Dev, what is going on, my man? How you doing?
Doing good, man. You better get to this baseball, bro. You're gonna have.
I know.
You're gonna have 5 people jumping off a bridge, man.
Yeah, we got some people that are upset. Look, it is a 3-hour show, right? And so if you talk about it, it doesn't matter where you talk about it. And I hit it, hit it quickly in hour number 1. LSU was, expected to sweep, and I know it's never, fully expected, but they did. And we'll get there after Dev. All right, Dev, we'll get there a little bit later. There's some people that want it right now, and we'll get there a little bit later on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm over here like, hey, man, where's the hockey at? Where's the 2 Game 7s in hockey? I mean, can't please them all, but you got 3 hours. You're right.
Yeah, we do, and we'll get there. I promise you. Right after Dev, we will talk LSU baseball. But Dev, big weekend in the city. Did you partake in the big events? I know Jazz Fest was out there this weekend. I had to assume that you were out there in that number.
Well, I wasn't, because I'm going Thursday for Locals Day.
Okay.
And no hate or anything. It's just like Jazz Fest was packed, man. I mean, the lines were longer than they were calling it Line Fest for a while there, because it was just, the lines were incredible to get food.
So Thursday's Locals Day?
Yeah, if you got a New Orleans ID, I think a Louisiana ID in general, you can get in for, I think it's half the price, $25, something like that. Don't hold me to that.
All right, so even if you're a Chalmation, you can get in for Locals Day?
Yes, Chalmette counts. Even though we consider ourselves our own little island, yeah, it does count.
All right, look, that's 3 weeks in a row. We had to get at least one Chalmation reference in there, Dev. All right, so we'll catch up with you next week on that event. But I know you said earlier in the chat that you had some Saints draft talk that you wanted to get to.
Yeah, I mean, so last Monday when we had briefly talked about it, the first name I had said was Nolan Smith. Now, when I said that, I never once thought that he would fall to where the Saints had the opportunity, right? But boom, the Saints had the opportunity. And Jacob, this was what I was talking about. I'm not mad at the pick, especially days after. You get to kind of think about it. You get to see who else they drafted and everything. But it just, man, you hate to see 2 things. You hate to see a guy like Nolan Smith, even though he's had injuries. We've been in this situation before where there was a freak that wasn't supposed to be there. And the Saints wound up passing up on him. Last time was what? I think it was Reuben Foster. Hey, we probably panned out better on that, right? But at the time, it was like, damn, dude, like Reuben Foster, bro. Like, I think we kind of experienced that again, of course, this draft. And the second thing's the tight end, man. Like, not getting the tight end just because, man, you look at guys like Kelsey, you look at guys like Mark Andrews, Kittle. I mean, they're not just like good players. They're like so essential, so impactful. They're like the guys that are showing up when the team needs them the most. And we can't ever get that guy at tight end. I mean, we've had Cam Cleveland, Boo Williams, Ernie Conwell, Billy Miller, David Thomas, Shockey, Fleener. I mean, dude, it's like, Jimmy Graham was the best one we ever had. So I don't know. I just missed that, But
Did you
in
just
essence,
go Billy Miller?
hell yeah, man. Billy Miller was a dog.
Yes.
Where did Billy Miller go to school at again?
God, I have no idea. Like, if anybody in this room knows that, it's Mario. And I think Mario's Googling right now.
I think he went to Fresno, but I could be wrong. But looking at the draft, after it was all done, hey, man, let's see what happens. It's one of two ways, Jacob. It's going to be one of the worst drafts we ever had or one of the best,
So for me at tight end, okay, here's my question. And look, you did hit a lot of the needs that you had. Now, there's some great tight ends that were available there in the second round. I thought the Saints would trade up. They didn't. And in fact, they didn't select a tight end at all. And still, with their pick in the second round, they could have gone with one of the tight ends we had. But you hit your needs. Defensive tackle, defensive end, receiver, guard. But not only was tight end a need, you traded Adam Troutman. He asked for a trade. He goes back to his old head coach, Sean Payton. And now you're left. Here's your two deep, Juwan Johnson and Taysom Hill, which both tight ends are Fs. Neither one of those tight ends is a Y. And you're a team that runs in between the tackles. So with that being said, you need a Y. The Y tight end, if you're wondering, he's that guy with 3 fingers in the ground in line right next to the tackle. You don't have that tight end on this roster right now. Lucas Kroll's not. I mean, that's who you're going to go with. I don't know where they go tight end. And now obviously you're this late in the game.
Yeah, like even if they had Troutman too, it's just like, don't get me wrong, like Troutman was decent. He couldn't catch, and he wasn't like the greatest blocker either. So it was almost like when he asked for a trade, it was like, okay, well, man, that's funny you asked that because we've been trying to trade you anyway. But, they're going to have to pick up somebody, bro. I don't even know who's out there, but it would have to be like a straight up blocker. What's Josh Hill doing? Come back. I don't know. Because you're right, man. We're going to want to run the ball. And that's going to be a weakness for sure if we ain't got a tight end right there.
All right, Dad. So outside of tight end, how'd you feel about what the Saints did? I mean, you get Brzee there in the first round. It was definitely a need. I know that you mentioned Nolan Smith. He was there, but I still think defensive tackle was probably your biggest need, and you're going to count on yet again another year from Cam Jordan. Carl Granderson, maybe he can continue to develop. Peyton Turner. I mean, you've used so many draft choices on guys that you tried to fix the edge rusher position. Now, obviously, Cam's hit. Cam might be a Hall of Famer, but we've seen Marcus Davenport. Peyton Turner, I don't know what's going on with him. And you try again in the second round to find that edge rusher. It's really the only pick that I'm still a little confused by.
You talking about the Foskey pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just writes on the wall how they really feel about Peyton Turner.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can look at that. And then, I like the dude. I think that might be one of my favorite picks is the Foskey pick, even though he didn't play that good this past year. I mean, that 2021 season, and I know y'all saw Drew Brees come out and, support it because what was Drew Brees doing in 2021? He was covering Notre Dame games. So he knows that this dude – look, man, just get to the quarterback. That's it, man. When I saw his video, Foskey, of him getting drafted with his family and stuff like that energy told me that, hey, this guy is going to get more than a half a sack this season. And that's all I care about. Just get more, dude. Give me 4, 5. Whatever. Let's get to the quarterback. Man.
I did forget half a sack. That's it's funny now because it's in the past. It was certainly not funny at the time. Dev, what you think about them going running back in round number 3? You get Kendra Miller from TCU, highly productive player in college. He ran for 1,400 yards a year ago, knowing that AK is probably going to miss some time.
Yeah, I like it. Is it one of the running backs that I would have thought we were going to select? No, but, again, you get to go look at him and stuff and yeah, dude, that dude looks good. I mean, I think he had some minor – look, everybody's injured. Whether you go look at him, Tyjae Spears, there's a lot of dudes that had some injury issues.
Yeah.
I like that guy from TCU, man. I think that's going to work out good for our offense. He's going to be a good fit.
All right, Dev, what else we got on spread lines? I probably should have texted you and let you know T-Bob wasn't going to be here today, but hey, you're a pro. You're always ready to go. What else we got on spread lines?
Well, I mean, a few things here. Obviously, the draft was important to talk about. Rest in peace, Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
I wanted to Yeah, I wanted to bring that up just because, I mean, I'm a 90s kid. So growing up in a 90s household, man, it don't matter if I was at my grandma's, my uncle's, whatever. They just had Jerry Springer on in the background. And it was just one of a kind television, man, whether it was fake or real, that will never happen again. So it's just, that was sad. That was sad to see that Jerry Springer died. So rest in peace to Jerry Springer.
What time did that come on? Because we all watched it. I mean, it was craziness, but there was like a time period. There was a good 2-year period where I think everyone our age was watching Jerry Springer. Wasn't it right after school? Am I mistaken? Wasn't that kind of when that came on?
I could have sworn it was right after school, but there's a lot of people that said that they used to stay home from school and watch it too. So I think Jerry Springer has always been one of those things where they ran reruns and stuff like that all over the place. But I remember watching it when I got home from school because there was two options. You could go watch Disney, Nickelodeon, or you could turn on, something like Jerry Springer, Dr. Phil, and, stuff like that. And it's just crazy to think how, man, my grandma would sit there folding clothes with Jerry Springer on in the background. It was just such a raunchy show, and we were just so used to it. It was just such a different time.
Yeah, look, Jerry Springer for me after school, but Dev, if I stayed home from school, that TV was going to be on The Price is Right. There was nothing else it was going to be on. The Price is Right was locked in.
No doubt. I mean, I used to love staying home from school just to watch The Price is Right. I mean, that was why was I I don't know, but it was such a fun show to watch, man. Bob Barker, bro.
What a legend.
Bob Barker. Is he still alive?
I think he is. I think Bob's still with us. I mean,
can't kill him.
I think I want to say that he is still with us. I don't think he has left us yet. The Skinny Mike, Bob Barker, what a legend. I mean, his appearance, his cameo in Happy Gilmore alone.
Happy Gilmore.
99 years old. He's alive.
Oh, he's 99?
Yes. Born in December of 1923.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's you can't kill him. Shout out to Bob Barker. And it was never the same once Drew Carey. It just, you can't take Bob Barker out of that, man. It was never the same. But that Blind Date, they had all them shows on MTV at the time too. You had Room Raiders and Next.
Yeah. Can you imagine
Room Raiders?
Room Raiders is if there's any person that would ever be terrified to be on Room Raiders, he is not here with us today. That is one T-Bob Hebert. Can you imagine somebody that went into T-Bob's room with a black light?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Black light.
Can you? Leave it at that. I don't have to do a deep dive into it, but can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, I used to shut my light out and I didn't even have a black light. I used to just shut my light out and look for spots, because Room Raiders would kind of be like, man, I got to get my room together, if anybody ever raids me.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what's worse, the feeling of knowing that somebody would go into T-Bob's room with a black light, or walking onto a bus and you take one step off, the front step of the bus and somebody yells next because of your immediate appearance. Can you imagine? You take that corner, that one step around the corner, next, and you got to get off the bus knowing that based off your appearance alone that they said next in 3 seconds?
Yeah, no, that had to, that sits with you for a while. You don't just get over that when you walk off the bus. You're going to be thinking about that for a minute, dude.
And by this point too, you're old, you're pot committed, you are what you are.
Yeah.
You're not developing.
And I see somebody in the chat, Parental Control, one of the best work shows ever. So true. So, I mean, that was another good. All these shows were ahead of their time, man. You bring them shows out today, man, they'd be hits, bro.
There's no question about it. I mean, I think those shows could play today. I don't really know what MTV plays anymore though, Dev. I could not tell you. I don't know what they got going on. I know there's like a New Jersey Shore type with the
Floribama Shore.
Oh, is that what it's called? Okay, so there you go. Dev, you need to bring a West Bank Shore.
Yeah, I was about to say we got to spice it up because ain't nobody watching that, dude. Floribama Shore, but shout out to Jersey Shore. Shout out to Ozzy. Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah,
was the pioneer of that stuff, man. Bring a camera in my house and film it. Then it was Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson.
Oh yeah, Newlyweds.
Dude, shout out to Nick Lachey. I said this the other week. I was like, who would have thought in 2023 that Nick Lachey would be more relevant than Jessica Simpson?
Yeah.
And he kind of is.
I mean, he's more relevant than any boy band member not named Justin Timberlake. Of that, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, whatever the other ones. He's the second most popular. Big win for him.
Can't think of a 98 Degrees song, though. I know there was one that was really good, and I just can't.
Well, I tell you what, Dev, after we hang up with you, get back on the show, you'll hear a banger coming back in. All right? That's just for you, Dev.
I appreciate that, man. That was good times.
Oh, that was great times. Dev, what you got going on today? Obviously, it is Monday, so today is all about Dev. Where are you going? Do you know yet? Do you have maybe even a general idea of where you're going?
Usually, like when I don't know, it's probably going to be somewhere like in the New Orleans area, something like that. Because I'm still planning out my road trip. There's going to be a time soon to where I'm going to wake up and do this show, and I'm probably going to be in like Shreveport.
Yeah.
Or Monroe or somewhere, way up there, because that's what it's gonna have to be, man.
Way up there.
Well, yeah. I've never been. I don't think I've ever been to Shreveport.
Dude, it amazes me. So like all of my wife's college roommates and my roommates that were from New Orleans, they had never been to Shreveport. And like the only reason Stelts had been there, my college roommates, because we played them in high school playoffs. Like that's the only reason. Like he had been there. So, Dev, if you make that journey up, like you say, way up there, you let me know and we'll have you set up.
All right, I will. Because I know dudes, like I went to college with dudes from Shreveport, Monroe. They were some of the wildest dudes I've ever met. Like, dude, when it came down to drinking, these guys were tanks.
Yes, Dev, I also need to tell not only you this, but a lot of people, okay? Shreveport and Monroe are not very close. A lot of people assume, no, a lot of people think it's Baton Rouge and Port Allen close. No. It's like an hour and 45 minutes from each other.
No way.
Shreveport's all the way to the west. Monroe's almost all the way to the east. They are not close. But, Dev, I'm just trying to educate you on the map here because you're not the only one.
Yeah, I thought I would have told you they were 15 minutes away. I thought it was like just a bridge away or something.
Everybody,
so much land.
Everybody thinks, they're like, where are you from? Shreveport. Oh, yeah, West Monroe. We're right by each other. No, they're not right by each other. That is not the case. Dev, you're the man. We appreciate you as always. We look forward to seeing where you end up today.
All right, y'all take care. Appreciate
Dev,
it.
stick around for the 98 Degrees banger, and also stick around for the finally LSU baseball report as they sweep Alabama over the weekend. We'll have that for you here on OTB.
OTB, OT.
All right, good All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com. All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com. What are you looking for? Well, it doesn't really matter because they're going to have it over at All-Star. If you want to drive the Sienna minivan like T-Bob, the Murdered Out Mini, and you want to customize that Murdered Out Mini, well, you certainly can do so a couple of ways. You can actually just go see them off Airline Highway. You can do it all in shop. Or if you're like, hey, I'd rather do it online, you can do that as well. You can do a hybrid process, right? You can do half online, half in person, whatever you want to do. They're there for you over at All-Star. It's not only the Sienna minivan that you can customize. You can customize any vehicle over there at All-Star, and they have so many different ones to choose from. We talk about the Sienna all the time, but like me and my family, we're currently in the Highlander. That is a lease for us, and we have loved it. I've leased a 4Runner from them before as well. If you're looking for a truck, they've got multiple options. They got the Tundra. They have the Tacoma. So many different options for you, not just one. Not one SUV, not one truck. They have multiple options for you. Check them out online, All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clash and chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap the NFL draft, and we'll take a look at the LSU Bama baseball series. Join us for Monday's AFR, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
All right, welcome back in to OTB. Dev, that was for you. Yes, Nick Lachey is the second most popular member of any boy band that we grew up listening to in the late 90s and early 2000s. What a big win for Nick Lachey. This is some 98 Degrees just for you, Dev, so you can hear a 98 Degrees song. All right. I know, look, I buried the lead. How have we not yet? LSU baseball, okay? We had the NFL draft. I was in Kansas City for the draft. It was a lot of fun. We broke down the Saints picks because, look, it's always football season. We mentioned LSU baseball quickly in hour number 1, and now we are back there. And if you're wondering what happened around the SEC, a lot of sweeps this weekend in the SEC. Tennessee, they get a sweep of Mississippi State. Arkansas, they sweep Texas A&M. LSU, which we'll break down, they sweep Alabama. Vanderbilt, they sweep Kentucky. Florida, they sweep Missouri. Here's where you don't get sweeps, and this is big, I think, for LSU. Auburn takes 2 of 3 from South Carolina, that team that a lot of people thought maybe they were better than LSU. In fact, Saturday Down South Instagram account said if South Carolina is not the best team in baseball, you can go argue that with a wall. Well, I am here to argue that with a wall because South Carolina is really, really good. I still think LSU is better, and LSU has Auburn coming up this weekend. As far as the Georgia and Ole Miss series, Georgia takes 1 game on Saturday, but Ole Miss gets Friday and Sunday. They win the series, and that's important because LSU has Georgia coming up. But to break down the series, we told you they swept. We gave you the score. We gave you a couple of our initial thoughts. On Friday, the first game, Paul Skeens does what Paul Skeens does. He goes out there, gives you 6 innings, only gives up 1 run, and strikes out 9. Now, Griffin Herring, he gives you 2 2/3, but he gave up 6 hits, 5 earned runs. He did strike out 5, but he got a little hairy there. Bryce Collins comes in, and he does get the save. That was the story, obviously, with Skeens giving you what he's been giving you all season long, and you holding on to that lead. That was Friday's game. And really, we talked about it. I forget what segment we were talking about it, but it was a big weekend for some of the other guys to step up. Some of the other guys, look, Dylan Cruz and Tommy White, like they all had big weekends, but we are so used to them having big weekends that we're kind of spoiled, and that's how it works out. And we probably don't. It's like, the coach of the year conversation. Whenever you have it, it's like the guy who does it every single year doesn't get votes. It's really about the guy that you weren't expecting to do it. He goes out there and he does it. Well, that is the guy that gets coach of the year. A lot of the same situation here, but I thought Jordan Thompson had a nice weekend at the plate. I thought Jared Jones continues to develop as a player. That is somebody, man. Like if you didn't have Dylan Cruz and you didn't have Tommy White on this team, he would probably be the lead story. He's a freshman doing those things, right? He's a freshman that's one of the most feared hitters in the SEC. I thought he had a couple of really nice moments over the weekend. But if we're sitting here and we're talking about some of the things that did not go right for the Tigers, it's obviously going to start on the mound and with the starting pitching. Ty Floyd only goes 2 2/3 innings, gives up 6 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, walked 4, only strikes out 2. Now, the rest of the bullpen, by the way, tip my cap to you. I mean, you won that game 2 of the series because you come in, Dutton gives you an inning, he gives up only 1 run. You've got Coleman, who is maybe going to be the most important player for this LSU team down the stretch. He gives you 2 1/3, strikes out 6. Now, he walks 3, but I think with more time on the mound, obviously coming back from that injury, he'll kind of hone in on that control. It's really the only thing that's gotten him in trouble so far on his comeback attempt, but he does strike out 6, and again, only 2 1/3 innings. And again, I think he's going to be vastly important. Blake Money also, another guy that's going to be important. We saw him multiple times this weekend. The first time goes better than the second time, but the second time, I don't think the stats really tell the true story. I thought he had some big moments on the mound. So Coleman, Money going to be crucial for you down the stretch. Gavin Guidry got into some trouble, but Riley Cooper, he comes in, he gives you a walk, and it's like, oh man, what's going to happen here? Thatcher Hurd, another guy that's going to be so important down the stretch. He gives you an inning and 2/3. He strikes out 1, gives up no hits, but more importantly, doesn't walk anyone. That is going to be key for him. It's going to be key for Floyd. It's going to be key for Coleman, right? The free passes in game number 3 for both teams. Obviously, that was the story of that game. But when we talk about importance of players, I think of the arms, because you are down so many arms, you're searching for somebody that can be so consistent there in game 2. Floyd, last time out, looked like, okay, he's going to turn a corner. That's not the case. He comes back and he struggles this week. You're going to need somebody to step up. Somebody's going to have to come give you some real innings and give you some real confidence. I think Coleman can be that guy. I think Blake Money's continuing to get back to being somebody that we've seen be a Friday night starter just a year ago. You need more from Blake Money. He's starting to kind of give you that. Thatcher Hurd is going to be very important down the stretch as well. Again, no walks for him was certainly key because that is something that has plagued him all season long. When you get to game 3 of the series, kind of more of the same, right? You're looking for consistent pitching. And Christian Little in 3 1/3, he only gives up 2 hits, but he gives up 3 earned because he walks 5 guys. Free passes. That was the story of the weekend. Now he strikes out 5. So you're missing bats. You're not giving up a lot of hits, but the free passes, that is what is just crushing you. And when you're looking for consistency, it's not that they don't have the talent on the mound. Jay Johnson comes on this show every single week, and the talent is there, but it's commanding your pitches. That's what LSU has to improve on. They've got candidates to do it, and I think Coleman, again, might be the most important because that is something that I think with him, the more he's on the mound, the more he's going to figure it out, and he's trying to find that control after being off for so long. But he did have plenty of moments where he looked like his old self. But you had really the bullpen, you get Little, gives up 3 runs, and then the bullpen gives up 3 runs. You get to Bryce Collins. He doesn't record an out, but Riley Cooper probably, and I know the last inning got a little hairy there. Maybe you extended him a little bit too much, but when he came in with the bases loaded, huge strikeout for Riley Cooper. And I know he gave up the 2 runs there in the last inning, but he didn't walk anyone. And again, bases loaded. He comes in. They have their cleanup hitter up, a guy that already had hit a home run in the game. It's a lefty-on-lefty matchup, and he gives you that final out. So overall thought on the series, the LSU lineup continues to be as dominant as any lineup in the country. And I think the most encouraging thing, I'll go back to my original point, of the guys that continue to step up. Paxton Clean hit a home run in this game. That's somebody that, I mean, he went 2 weeks between at-bats, and to see him finally kind of get back into the lineup, we know he's fast. We know he can help you out in the field, but him hitting a home run, that can do a lot for his confidence. Josh Pearson, that double that he hit in the game. You're waiting on Josh Pearson to get going. We saw him last year, and I thought Ronnie did a really nice job of the broadcast. Like, he's somebody that almost hit double-digit home runs a year ago. We haven't seen that yet this year, but you're waiting on it because you know it is there. You know he is capable of doing it. So I thought that double for him was big to try to get his confidence going. Alex Milazzo. We've talked about Alex Milazzo a lot here on this show for what he can do defensively, but the offense was always 3 steps behind. Well, he continues to hit. He got 2 hits again yesterday, scored 2 runs, had one of the biggest hits in the game to take the lead. So that is somebody you were not counting on to give you those type of at-bats this year, but he can, like, we're so far in the season now, and he's got enough at-bats. That's what he's been this season. That is not a flash in the pan. That is not somebody that is just doing it here in the first 3 weeks of the season. And also Hayden Travinski, yet again, another catcher. That was not your starting catcher, right? Neal's your starting catcher. He's out. Milazzo has stepped up. We know what he can do again defensively, but he's handling his own with the bat. And then Hayden Travinski, he is a candidate to leave the ballpark with every single at-bat. He has that ability, right? And he is continuing to hit as well. So many different options for this LSU lineup. That's why that's not the story. You continue to have guys step up and have 2 of the most consistent hitters in the game in Cruz and White. You don't have worries there, right? Your backups to the backups are hitting big-time home runs. It's all on the mound. Can you control enough to be able to go out there and be the team at the end of the day that you know you can be? Can it be enough in a regional, in a super regional? If you're able to get to Omaha, do you have enough consistency on the mound? It's going to be the story. And look, I can promise you Hunter Palmer is going to have this broken down from every single angle from 1 to 3. And I'd love to get his thoughts on this too, because it's not a talent issue. It's truly not, because when you see the hits, right, you don't give up a ton. When you see the strikeouts, you strike out a lot of guys, but the free passes are continuing to just haunt you time and time again because these teams are coming up with timely hitting, and that's where they're getting a bulk of their runs. You need Ty Floyd to be better. You need Christian Little to be better, right? You need some of these guys that you're counting on to be better. And the free passes are something that has to go away. And it's good to see Thatcher Hurd come in the end of a game, not walk anybody, right? Not try to do too much. I thought that was maybe the best we've seen Thatcher Hurd, certainly in the last 6 weeks, maybe since the Texas game. That's the best that I think we've seen him, because it hasn't gone that well for him. So you need to get him going. I mentioned Riley Cooper. I thought maybe that strikeout he had there with the bases loaded was maybe the best pitch sequence that he's had all season long, right? Since last year, we saw him really be a star out of the bullpen. So for me, that's the biggest takeaways of the weekend. You go out there, you beat an Alabama team that I thought you would have success against, and really a portion of the schedule that we were thinking the success would come. This is where you were supposed to feast on the teams that were at the bottom of the SEC standings. And so now you are 15-5 in conference play. Arkansas is 14-7. You are still in control of the SEC West. You've got another very winnable series against Auburn, who is 9-12 in league play coming up. That is a series that you expect to win, and you've got more coming at the back end of the schedule. Georgia, for a little bit, looked like they were getting hot, but this weekend they lose 2 of 3. They're now 8-13 in conference play. So you still really like where LSU is at. That's the one thing you need to see, though. Consistency on the mound, throwing strikes, and we'll see if we can get that from the LSU Tigers. All right, we will take our last break of the show. We're going to answer your questions. We'll ask the bench when we come back. But before we get there, I want to tell you to go to RejuveMeMedical.com. RejuveMeMedical.com. Find a full list of conditions they can treat for you. That list is long and distinguished, all right? We all got something going on. And if you don't feel right, if something is going on with you, get the consultation set up. It's right there on the website, RejuveMeMedical.com, in the top right corner of the site. Remember, 4 locations, by the way: Baton Rouge, Metairie, Slidell, Shreveport now. That's that newest location. But if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-240-1721, RejuveMeMedical.com. We'll finish it up when we come back here on OTB.
OTB, OT.
right, go to centralplumbing.org, centralplumbing.org. And remember, yes, 24/7 emergency service that's at your home or your business. They are ready to go. It doesn't matter if it's just your bathroom at home. Maybe you got one single issue. They can come out. That's not going to be too small for them. Maybe you own a business, right? Maybe something happens in the middle of the night, and that is that dreaded phone call. But don't worry. Central Plumbing can come out. They can take care of it because 24/7 means 24/7. So go to centralplumbing.org to see what they can do for you. I always encourage you, right there on the homepage, click the bathroom remodel tab. They can come in, they can completely change the look of your bathroom. That's a new tile, that's a new shower, it's a new tub, it's a new vanity, new everything, whatever it is, they can handle that. Also, check out the water heaters. Go tankless. Never run out of hot water again. You're getting home late. I tell you a story all the time. You got laundry, you got dishes, you got showers that you still have to do. It's okay because you're going to have a tankless. Never run out of hot water again. centralplumbing.org.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
The Monday edition of Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. from Walk-Ons. It's Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
All right, Ask the Bench brought to you by Cola Cruise Light, Vizzy Art Seltzer, Blue Moon, Light Sky, Citrus, Weed. Ask the Bench is Jake's cereal as organized as his notes. Maybe not as organized, although there is a method to the madness. And again, like I'm going to go back and listen to Friday's show as I heard my notes were being discussed, and it's my system. That's just the way I like it. Look, blue is for running backs. So I have the top running backs. I have notes. of all the running backs. Why is it blue? Because during the draft, there's trades, there's surprise picks, and I want to have my scouting report of my position ready to go. And I know if I'm on the blue, I'm talking about a running back, and that's just the way I've always kind of done my notes and kind of a unique system there. But the cereal, right now we're on Corn Pops and Raisin Bran, in case you were wondering, and we kind of organize those depending on which ones are the go-to at the moment. Ask the Bench, have you seen the series about Edna Carr on Hulu? I saw the commercial for it during the baseball game. I am certainly intrigued by it. It's called Algiers America, right?
Yes.
Have you seen it?
No, but I've seen the previews for it, and I've seen them play a few games. The entrance they do is epic. Edna Carr, I enjoy it.
Yeah, Edna Carr, man. I've enjoyed 3 state championships I think I covered for them. They're certainly a power program. All right, that is going to do it for any new vinyl pickups? Yeah, I got one. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. There. Great question. Love vinyl records. We'll see you tomorrow. T-Ball will be back. OTB.
OTB. OT.
All right, go to AcademicBR.com. AcademicBR.com. We always tell you, go ahead and schedule that appointment online. You can get a free quote online. You can ask any question there online when that chat box pops right up on the website. Again, AcademicBR.com. 225-351-1513 is the number. But no matter what you need, they are ready for you. And again, you can schedule right there online if maybe you can't get to the phones right now. You also can ask about the Star membership. T-Bob and I are both members of it. And right now, we're in a territory that I didn't think we'd be in, right? We've had some cooler weather. Now, yesterday was a little hotter, kind of back to normal, but don't shock your system, right? You've got the AC kind of running, then you turn it off, then it's back running again. If you're part of that Star membership, they're going to make sure that it's ready for any situation. So go ahead, again, 225-351-1513. Give them a call. Ask them how you can become a member today. And as we always tell you, the online hates everything. They don't hate Academic. 5-star ratings all over the place. AcademicBR.com.
Hello, Samantha, dear.